Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of the So Nigerian podcast.
Yes, sir.
And today's a special episode. This is
Very special.
This is already like our best episode this year already.
This year of all time.
Of all time.
Of all time.
And it's also going to tell you that it's the greatest episode. So today we have African rapper number one. We have a creative genius, creative entrepreneur, record label exec, part-time philosopher.
Part 3 is music. Part-time or full-time? Full-time philosopher.
You understand? And is just an amazing person, and we are so happy to have him here.
Man, thank you so much.
You know, it kind of like I brought so much introspection into hip-hop rap from the beginning of the onset. And even if he's not even dropping bars and all other stuff, he's also there mobilizing people to vote, creative, making a startup, everything incredible. Is just doing it. That's why we have the one and only Mr. Incredible.
Man, wow. You know, I really appreciate that. That's very kind. Very, very kind.
Thank you so much.
Praises to the Most High.
What you just doing is one of the reasons why I like you, because like your humility, like when I watch your interviews, like you're always very calm and very, like you carry the conversation so well. And
Thank you.
It's really interesting.
Thank you so much. I really am. I'm very like it's a very kind thing, right, for someone to say about you, and I appreciate it.
And when I even say like you made introspection look cool in hip hop, is because obviously I grew up listening to you, and not only in Nigeria, and even the time when you dropped African rapper number one, you know, in Africa as well. You know, there's so many people that give you your credit and give you your flowers, because at that time, I remember when I was much younger, when we were much younger, like it wasn't even cool to listen to Nigerian rap at that time. It wasn't really cool to Nigerian music as a whole. Yeah. So that time was more sort of like Lil Wayne, all those things.
Yeah,
so like,
Eminem, all them.
Yeah, like, so when we now like, you know, in secondary school, when you have with your pen and your table and you're rapping, at that time it was safe. I used to rap. These
guys.
But I always like to, when people say this, because it's very kind. So I feel like I'm part of the generation of like hip hop where the decking and the ceiling.
Yeah.
So then people could move into the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But before then, there was already like LD the Don and the Tribesmen.
Yeah, true.
It had almost a decade-long run.
Sorry.
You know?
Before I started recording, you talked about controversy. So I just wanted, you know, there was this debate one time.
Yeah.
Who is more of an OG or something between LD and MI, and
oh my goodness, whoever said that?
No, it was a debate on Twitter.
Please forgive
I actually went in one of my guys. He was on LD side, and I was on MI side, and like I went in and we're arguing, we're dropping like.
I still call LD OG when I see him today. Like, and LD for me, LD did something that was very, very kind to me. Oh, I've used the word a few times today. But when I met him as a young rapper, not just him too as well. The first day I met Rugged Man, I had just won Headies Awards.
Wow.
So, and Rugged Man was the king of hip hop. And then, you know, this Odumudu energy.
Yeah, that was Rugged Man.
If you be Rugged Man that time, you have to just be like, now Rugged Baba be deep. You know what I mean? So, when I met me that day, he just looked at me and he said, I'm very glad that the first day I'm meeting you, you have an award in your hand. You know what I mean? Boom. I felt. Then LD. I remember it was a Christmas Day event, but there's a guy friend of mine called Tiwa Works, and he just saw me and he was like, M.I, you're the golden child. Can you imagine that? Just imagine, who's your biggest Afrobeats fan?
I'm Davido fan.
You're Davido fan?
Yeah.
Have you interviewed him?
Have I met him before?
Have you interviewed him?
No.
Imagine like, you're just doing interviews, let's say after you and Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah.
Then as he just comes, he just sees you, he's just like, wow. You are the golden child. Wow. You know what I mean? That's how it was for me. It was the biggest feeling, you know, as a young rapper. And that's the OG. Those guys, Mode, Rugged, Idris, LD the Don. There are many of them in that category too as well. But these were like standout. Of course, Sasha is from that era.
Yeah.
LD was not alone. KB and Freestyle were with him in the Tribe Man. Dr. Seed.
Even down to like them Two Shots. You
know, Two Shots is basically the first Alaba artist.
Yeah.
So before Nigeria and LD the Don made that deal happen. This is why we're talking about OGs.
I didn't know they were linked, you know.
So when Two Shots had the album. LD had relationships. I may be getting the story wrong, so this is why you should interview them so they can get it right.
Yeah.
But I know that the first time when Alaba ever thought of putting Nigerians, those tapes used to be there, but it was Celine Dion, and Michael Bolton, and
the full Nigerians.
Yes, Nigerian music wasn't really.
Yeah.
The first time that they thought about it was 2 Shots for rap.
Wow.
I think for this generation, that it became a deal.
Yeah.
Oh, the first deal, let me say. And after that, Alaba now became a place by which music became a culture.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow. But my argument would be, though, like before we move this conversation, I think that you were so you know how like every year or every 2 years there's like a popping artist. So like how Ashake was popping for like 2021, 2022. Yeah. I don't think rap ever had like a that kind of artist until you came on.
It's like once you do your decking, you move in. Do you know what I'm saying? So you celebrate that part the most. You know what I mean? Maybe the money die for foundation. You know what I mean? But once you just do your decking, you say, Jesse Jacks, Ice Prince, M.I, okay, celebrate Nigeria, hip-hop has come.
That period was the whole Chalkboy era.
But even though, I also want to say as well, look, I just want to give credit. I'm not even trying to, I'm just trying to give credit to the whole community of rap, you know, because maybe people are watching as M.I fans, and this is an opportunity for them to remember, like, oh, this person was actually part of the story. Even at the time when M.I was coming out, there was another guy called Neto C.
Oh, okay. So I'm so sorry. The argument was
going crazy.
Yeah. The argument was actually Neto C M.I, not LD M.I.
Oh, it can't be LD M.I.
Yeah. I just remember.
It can't be LD M.I. Neto and I came out at the same time. And I remember the feeling every day when Neto would drop his album. I would just be like,
Burn the fire.
There's one album that has levels don't change. 10 over 10. It has 5 and 6.
It has fire, burn the fire.
Burn the fire. It has so many.
Extinguish.
No, that's the first album. That's You Know My P. But the second one had like 8 hits. Certified bangers. Do you know what I mean? Man, shout out to Neto. And not just the Soske, there was so many people around at the same time too. Kills. Man, we were many. That time, the industry was just on fire. Maybe like a year after I came out, that Green 2 came out, that opened this whole war. And then before then, there was Lord of Ajasa. I don't know if you guys remember these guys.
Yes.
You know what I mean? From the East, there were guys already doing it. So it's like...
them.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful. I mean, like hip hop has really done its thing, and we don't get our respect. You know, at the very least, when we enter into the building, people should be like, welcome. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But they're just like, look at you. they treat us like, look at you useless. No, man. I mean, you grow up, see your mates. That's how they treat hip hop in Nigeria. But we've tried. We're an amazing genre. Think about like even up to now, Odumodu is at the top of the game.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
100%.
SDC. Files, Ladipo. It's like it's a genre that's done so much. So many greats. Fino, Olamide. We haven't gone into one level of hip hop
rap. The Black Bones, everybody.
Like, look at you, hip hop, Nigeria hip hop, shame.
No, but people's argument would be these names you mentioned, their hit songs are more like not hip hop centric. They are more like Afro.
Do you think it's because of how African or Nigerian music evolved that kind of like, you know, let back or made or caused the disrespect to hip hop in Nigeria?
I think it's just because it's just a genre like that. We just elicit that.
Do you not actually think we used to listen to more Nigerian rap then than now? You know, it was more so of a thing.
More
you know?
than now?
Not listen, like it was more respected then than now.
I mean, even then, like, look, when I would come out then, think about all the Afrobeat stars that were big there. D'banj, P-Square, Two-Face. You know, there's so many guys that are not, people don't remember now, but like Face had Columental, and that was like 5 years lockdown. Yeah. There was J Martins. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like there was just nice.
Mm-hmm.
There was just so much great music. Yeah. To me, it's always been the same. It's just the perspective. You know, the truth about it is that I've ever been judged by somebody, and that judgment has never changed your whole life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No matter what, you gotta be the best. You know, like maybe those old uncles are like, my boy, come on, man. Bro, I'm walking now. I've been walking my friend shut up. You know, we just have a perception. And that's okay. You know, It's okay. It's part of our story.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on, you spoke so much. You spent nearly 2 decades in the entertainment industry, and obviously the subject matter of this episode is just financial sustainability for like creative in the industry. So I was just wondering, like we spoke earlier even about the Alaba streaming CDs at that time. So I'm just wondering, how was it trying to like make money or just make your stand in the era where streaming and digital wasn't really a thing? Like, how were you even making bread at that time? Because like so many questions, like what was funding studio time? Like, how was it actually coming up at that era? Because I can't imagine now, like a young artist, if you want to become an artist, there's so many things in the digital media that can help you blow. So I can't imagine then, like you have to come from Jos, like to Lagos, all of those things. Like, how are you recording? Did you have TikTok to make videos to promote your music? Like so many, like I'm trying to wrap my head around and just like understand how it was for you then.
Sometimes the question is the answer. You've actually asked a great question.
Yeah.
And as you were asking, I realized that you've uncovered a deep truth.
Wow.
Which is that they're the same. They're the same. So permit me to answer this question this way. I will tell you what I did as advice to young musicians.
Yeah.
And then I'll point out how it's the same. So when I was coming up, first of all, there was no studio, no money to buy a studio. So I had to learn how to engineer to get into a studio. And then at the same time, I had to work in the studio, work my way up to become the studio manager, and then also make money from the work I was doing. So why do I say this? Because most young artists today, even if you have a friend that has a producer, everything, you have to learn yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to learn production, or you have to get close to somebody that can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then while people are trying to make money, a lot of times you can work for people. You can do some mixing, you can do some engineering, and that will allow you to start making some money. Because a lot of artists today, early on, it's like, how do I make enough money to fund the thing?
Yeah.
After that, I started coming to Lagos, because I was already working and doing projects for people. I had small money. I'll come to Lagos. And then I just had to network. So it's the same thing today. You got to meet people. And I had to meet artists. I had to meet media people. And I had to meet like society people, let's call that. So you want people that can let you into a party. You want people that can get you on radio. You want people that can collaborate with you. Same thing artists are doing today. You need to have your podcast or your like influencer friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to have your like that's like the media today. You need to have your artist friends, because like look at the comedians, like Nasboy would do something, Shaggy will repost it, like Sabi will repost it. You know what I mean? So you want to network that way. Then you also want to network like I mentioned like media. You also want to network industry. So let's call it like, who is the Spotify playlist person? Who is the Apple Music? And then the heads of the playlist. Then
so you have to walk and look for these people.
Man,
instead of DMing them on IG.
but you go to events, right? So now IG is sort of like the event. So let's say you go to Today Notes page, you can see everybody in the comments.
Yeah.
So we were just doing the physical of that. There'll be a party. We'll go to the party. Everybody's there. Once you start connecting with people and having a good time, connect everybody, you've met people. Come back with numbers on your phone.
So you only have to walk around with your demo, your CDs.
In fact, back then, it was more about like, this is what I would say, like when you have your CD, you are selling. Once you are selling, you have changed the energy of the conversation, So when you meet somebody at first, you should receive their story. When you meet somebody the first time, this is advice to all artists, don't ask for anything first.
Yeah.
Just receive. Who are you? Tell me your story. Tell me what you're working on. You know what I mean? And get to know the person and save them in your phone. If the opportunity is there, it will reveal itself. But a lot of times we put that pressure. You meet artists, they're always like, I want to
listen to my stuff.
You need to, and it's like,
does that get tiring to you?
It even feels uncomfortable, what I mean?
And sometimes you just have to stay and listen to them.
Yeah, we know it too. It's not easy to do. That's why you see a lot of artists get really heartbroken about the fact people don't give them attention, because it's difficult to, but there's an easier way to do it, which is just to be like, you remember the day we met here?
Yeah.
You did exactly that. You were like, hey, Emma, it's really nice to meet you. And you and I just connected. And you just told me the story of what you're doing. I was like, oh, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Really easy and seamless. You know what I mean? I just imagine if when we met, you were just like, and I feel a lot of times people meet in that energy. They meet in that energy. So get to know the person, because like, let me just use an example, like somebody meets me and they're like, hey, so what are you working on now? Really get to know each other. And I feel very comfortable sharing with the person. I'm going to remember the person I saved their number in my phone. And now when the person calls me and we talk about something, I'm going to think about them differently than if when we just met.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? You know, and when somebody feels friendly towards you, it's very hard for them to say no when you need something.
True.
So, so we had to do that back then. And then I would say what now is now streaming was radio. So you had to go to the radio who had like the playlist. Everybody listens to me from 7 to 9. So I have like a playlist and you listen to me. Now you go directly to a Spotify editor and the person has the playlist. People listen to the playlist. So it's really the same structure, the same industry.
True.
Do you know what I mean? But it's just that they say every 20 years, like society repeats itself, but in a different way. Like there'll be a new city, so to speak. So I feel like streaming has now reorganized us in the same way, but it's the same players. And for an artist, making money is about being valuable to everybody. That's, I think, to land in your question. Like in my case, when I made collaborations with artists, I already had a studio. So I was able to move into someone's house and provide value to the person. Every artist I met, I'm like, oh, I have a studio in Jos. You can come and work, you know. And let's say you have followers or you have a TikTok or something, you can share. Let me do something for you. Boom, I can give a gift and then you can connect that way. For people, like I had a studio, so I was making small money. I was valuable in that way. You know, I didn't have to really, I needed a lot of help. I didn't have to rely on people, you know. And then, I mean, you just want to make great art as well. So that's the other thing. A lot of hard work. I'd put in so many years into refining my craft.
So if I come and meet you now that I'm a rapper, I jump on twos, call me two. Let's get to look at me like, should I sign this guy? I understand how to feel about your
You know, in fact, let me even tell you how I think about signing artists again. Every question you ask, even though I feel I have a personal answer, I'm trying to answer it in a way that if a young artist is listening, it's useful to them as well, right? So I feel when I used to be a record label boss, if I wanted to sign a rapper or an artist, the thing I look for is this: first of all, how many songs have they put out recently? That's the first thing. Now, that tells me how often you're recording. If you're recording a lot, like 50, 60, 100, you're going to be like, man, I got to put some songs out. So you'll be putting out EPs, you put out singles. There's some people that are like, my album is coming out next year. So they've held 12 songs, right? But here's the difference. While you're waiting to plan to drop your song, somebody's recorded 200. And person will kick ball 200 times and person will taking time, kick 10 times. They're not the same. You know what I mean? The person that kicked 200 times, his leg is strong. Now, you know what I'm saying? So that's how some artists because they're stuck on, I don't want to take my time to this project. So that's the first thing I look for. Are you prolific? The second thing is, are you performing? Let's take an artist that's in the studio, you're recording, you have your nice ideas, you're waiting for your release to come out, you have 50 songs. There's another artist that recorded 2 songs. He still recorded 50 over time, but then he put out the 2 songs, went and performed. Nobody liked the song. But he noticed that towards the end, they liked one part. So his next third song, he now added that part. He was now like, one person liked when I said this, so he adjusted. Now, that's how you get an artist like Ashake, who has been performing, backup, dancer, stage. He's been watching humans for a long time. So his skill is more levels. It's not just like I'm in the studio. When he's in the studio, he can see the stage moving. He can see how people are going to react. He knows that organize. You start like this because he knows on stage I'm going to. And a lot of artists are denying themselves that experience. They're just at home, imagining what their performance is going to be like. You know what I mean? And it never turns out how you imagine. You know. And then the last thing I always ask is, are you growing? Are you growing is the best way for me to know. Now, artists are not going to like when I say this, but how skilled are you? You know, did you play football when you were young?
I still play football.
Oh, did you play?
Yeah, I still play football.
Fantastic. Okay. When you were younger, Were you good?
Yeah.
But did you ever play with somebody that you were like
amazing,
like mad? Yes, a lot.
Do you remember the person's name?
Yes, I can't. DG.
Now, that's what it's like finding a star.
Hmm.
Everybody can sing. But one day you see somebody, you're like, wow. Now, if that artist is a wow artist and they're prolific, the growth will be clear. It will be clear. So I just need to go and look 6 months back into your Instagram. What was your growth? Because if you're a wow artist, people will be going, wow, wow, wow. Just the same way people we played with when we were young. We remember them because they were stars.
Yeah.
That's what a star does. Now, how do you become a star? You have to be more skilled than us.
True.
More skilled than the average person. And that's where most artists get stuck. You're not just like a normal person. Your cousins that listen to you, they're like, oh yeah, great, nice song. But I guess I can do this too myself. Do you know what I mean? You're not yet showing them a skill that they're like...
Something that makes them exceptional.
Yeah.
Wow, you know? And I was hanging out with Waji. Okay, I was on the stage the other day with Waji. And I remember in the middle of our performance, I turned and looked at her. Like...
She has improved greatly.
Not even she... do I have the mouth to say she has improved? Like, this is a goddess.
Wow.
Like, yeah, she's in Nigeria, but this is a goddess of sound.
Yeah.
You know, this is a great skill. That's the thing. Wow. You can never hide a Waji because she's worked on her skill to that point.
Yeah.
So most artists, you need to be performing, you need to be recording, you need to be sharpening your skill till you become a wow artist.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You mentioned having to move from Plateau to Lagos. So I want to ask, when did Lagos become the, would I say, entertainment capital? Has it always been like that? Or it just got to a time where everybody had to move to Lagos before like they blow up?
Yeah. You're asking a question that's senior to me. This question is my Egbo. Because Lagos has been doing it before time. I was just talking to Vino, Mrs. Vino Marage. She's a writer of Nigeria Go Survive.
Wow.
Like 2 weeks ago, we were chatting and she was telling me that even in her own time, 40 years ago, you know, she was talking about Lagos.
Wow.
That's crazy. I feel like, first of all, the Yorubas, especially in Lagos, are very hospitable people, you know, because it's one thing to be in a place, but it's one thing to really even immerse in their Owambe culture, their street parties at the end of the year, you know, the way they're really like a boisterous culture.
Yeah.
And they really, I feel that Lagos as a state is eating the fruit of that. Because they celebrate and they celebrate communally. Like, as an artist, when you come, even if it's very difficult, you will find somebody. You can be under the bridge and you meet somebody, the person will say, let's hustle together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You go and meet one producer, the producer. It will be tough, but you meet someone.
Yeah.
So it's a land where dreams can be birthed and they come alive. And I feel in that way, it's just like a senior, you know. When we were young, are you firstborn?
Nah.
Firstborn?
Last child.
Last!
Last child.
And you?
Last child.
This is a last born podcast. Firstborn. You're last. So, but, you know, as a last born, a lot of what you learn from your seniors.
Yeah, definitely.
So Lagos is like the senior brother for entertainment in Nigeria. You know? The rest of us, like Abuja, Plateau, Port Harcourt, you know, we're different ages, but we can look at Lagos and be like, okay, they have studios, they have this, they have that, and it's just, it's growth. In fact, I would say it's the senior brother for Africa.
Yeah.
You know? And it's really done well. Using that metaphor, it's really been a great senior brother that we can look at. You know, over the years, over the changes, you can always go to the beaches and there'll be great music, there'll be great vibes.
Yeah.
You can go to the nightclub from when it was in the 60s, 70s. Go and look at pictures of our parents. They were boogieing. That's why we call it boogieing. When they dance with their hands like this, they were boogieing in clubs. You go to their Ikoyi club, they're living their life. You know, Lagos just has that like culture. They have it on lock.
Yeah.
And that's why I say the question is older than me.
I mean, it's funny that you say, because just like my dad always tells stories, at that time we drove from this day, it was so easier to come to Lagos. party. Me and we show pictures in like 1970s, like
Right.
and it just shows like Lagos has always been that hub and everything. And just so this one is on the sidebar, like marriage is looking good on you. Marriage is looking
right
excellent.
before I came here, I was laughing about the fact, my wife and I were just laughing about the fact that when we were in America, because we went to America earlier this year for like a month, we were so big, but now we're back to Nigeria and we're healthier. You know, it made us appreciate the fact that I think when you're here, you eat real food.
Yeah, natural stuff.
No shade, America. No shade. I'm just saying that I think Africans like African food. Let me just say it like that. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know? But
and it just shows the way
that's kind, man.
Yeah, no.
So are you in a relationship?
No, I'm not.
You can see from his hairstyle.
Yeah.
His fine boyness. You can see now. We know them. By their fruit, you shall know them.
Complicated.
Gosh. Please edit that part out, please.
Complicated.
Edit it out. Let it. There was some babes. I'll be like, Compli what? Don't worry. Block or what's that?
No, there are about 3 of them that will complain when they see this.
I mean, like, it just shows me, like, there's so many, you know, we've been speaking everything, most of your answers, it has just come from like a senior brother. Like, there's a way you're such a good conversationalist. Like, it just makes it like everything is like nuggets of it. Like, you're looking out for your younger brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're looking out for your younger brothers.
There was even a question where he said he's going to answer like it's an advice to younger rappers. And the question was not, it didn't even like...
No, you know what? Like, okay, first of all, let me acknowledge that. Thank you so much. That's a very kind thing to say.
Yeah.
And I take it a little bit serious because when people give criticism to older artists, I actually listen to it with the listening ear. You know, when I was a younger artist, I was also very critical of the older generation. Very critical. Why can't you guys do this? So now I'm now getting into that position. Am I going to be like those other older brothers? Like, you don't even know anything about life. If you understand what I went through, or am I going to be like, let me listen and try and understand? Because honestly, I felt if I had been listened to, I would have accomplished so much more, you know? So I try now when a question is asked to me to say, is there something in my answer that somebody can listen to? And then if there is, let me try and present it that way rather than just talk about myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can talk about myself and somebody goes, I learned this about you, that's interesting. But to me, it's more important that, you know, you guys have created a massive platform.
Yeah.
You've given it a great brand. It's about being so Nigerian, you know?
Yeah.
And you're doing the hard work of like building, putting this out. And if somebody's listening there, I feel I should bring value to that listener in a way. And add to the journey.
And it's so right because our podcast is more like a social commentary for the Nigerian culture from the under 30s kind of like perspective. So we see it as, even we have listeners that were possibly born abroad, diaspora, and they just want to connect to what it's like being in Nigeria, or being Nigerian, or growing up in Nigeria. So we feel like even...
So I have questions for you guys.
We're here to take you. Don't worry.
On the hot seat.
No, you can put on the hot seat.
The guest,
If I can okay, can I go ahead?
Yeah, go, sure.
Alabutare. Okay, so my segue is about dating for under 30 men. And I want you to talk from a man's perspective.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of younger women are like, they complain, you know. And I feel as if, in a way as well, women sort of have the public arena.
Yeah.
They share. You know, but when you ask me about marriage, the marriage looks good on me. Yeah. And normally, in the years past, by 30, somebody's married. Are you 30 or 30 plus?
No, about to be 30.
About to be 30, okay. So around the same age.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
So what is that world like from your perspective? Like, what is it? Why? Is it just, do you know what I mean? Are you thinking about marriage? Are you like, is it difficult to be in a relationship? Like,
I think
that's a big question, but
yeah, definitely. I think personally, you know, there's kind of like there's an arrangement, like there's a world conception, especially like in Nigeria, where, okay, you know, it's like men start to look at marriage or in their 30s, early 30s, at that kind of rate. Like that's when a man will be ready, maybe financially ready, emotionally ready. Like you feel like people see marriage as a phase, you know, okay, I finish school, I get money, and then married, you know. We have conversations like this all the time, and we're like, let's even find money for wedding before we find wife. Do you understand? Those kind of things are like...
I had that fear, man, for years.
and I feel like that's what most Nigerian men actually, because women, you know, obviously, like, you don't want your wife to suffer. You don't want your family to suffer. You don't want to give birth. You don't want to procreate in a world of like hunger. So like, you feel like in your 20s, and I have friends that are 30 plus, and they'll tell you, your 30s are like your 20s with money. So now you have that financial freedom to be able to do anything. But then when you start seeing, okay, you've done all those things, and then you now think, oh, the next phase now is to start a family. My mom sees disturbing me, all those kind of stuff. Instead of actually like,
and it's the pressure on you guys now too as well. Yeah, so you're entering 30.
Not quite, but obviously, like, there's that. It's at the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody that I believe in, okay, marriage, my biggest fear is poverty, marry the wrong person, and not, my 3 biggest fears: marry the wrong person, poverty.
I love how you rearranged it. Listen, let me just be honest. Marry the wrong person. Cecilia, I hope you're listening.
And just like not acting on a purposeful and impactful life, So those are like my 3, biggest.
And that's very important, because the wrong person will affect all 3.
All 3. Exactly. So like, and then, when you look at it from the angle of most young men, we're just, we're trying to hustle, man. We're trying to make bread to be able to, have, and most women, I understand, everybody wants financial security. So most women are also looking out for themselves. Like, you rarely see women that are really like looking out to like, oh, this guy is coming up, let me come up with him, that kind of thing. They want a much more established man. And that's what we think that, okay, now 30s will probably be much more established, and we have like a wider range, a wider pool of finding somebody to marry or actually connecting in that marriage sense. But at the same time, I believe in the concept of love. I love love. And I feel like when you find your person, you would know. So that's when you have to put into consideration of like, just maybe coming up together, supporting each other's goals, ambitions, and just working up to a way that, okay, we are 2 years, 3 years, we are a level of financially stable.
Yeah.
We can tie the knot at this point, you can propose and all that stuff. So I feel like it's just the fear.
Man, it's so crazy. That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, man. I don't know. You feel the same?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, for me, there's already the pressure. He said there's no pressure, but I mean,
from family.
Yeah, like last time I went home, my dad spoke to me about marriage, and then like when I go home that evening, he sends me a picture of someone from church. And he's like, come on. He's like, think about it, man. Think about it. So yeah, there's that pressure. But like he said, times have changed. So there's no growing together. Everybody I feel like in our generation, like most women just want someone who's already pretty much established.
This is it. So tell me about the babes. They just want someone that's established.
Established, and nobody really wants to grow with anybody.
So they don't want established. They want established.
They want established. So that's really the issue.
Sister in the rooms. Is this facts?
I mean, obviously, like, there are exceptions. There are women that are more exceptions, but like, there are some women that you obviously like. It's hard to date with potential. I understand, like, like, oh, that guy, he has a potential. I really love him, but like, this guy comes with money. Like, he much more financial security, but obviously, like, you can go broke. Anybody can go broke. Money is not, there's no sure guarantee that it will last forever at the same time. And most of our parents actually they didn't marry our parents when they had money. Like, do you understand? They grew, and it was more sort of like, even if then there are levels of arranged marriage, but there was still more of like, this person,
we can manage him.
You can go,
so everything
not manage him, but I know my mom did not manage him. I feel like from most perspective and conversations I've had with my friends, I think that's the mindset. And everybody's like, you said, you had that fear as well, and obviously, like, marriage is looking good. You obviously found your one, and it's something. How's marriage life been for you? Just ask.
Well, I mean, first of all, thank you guys for sharing. That was really it made me feel really like, okay, I'm still cool in that you guys are experiencing in a way what I experienced too, Like, man, I was scared, and I actually didn't get married for a long time because I was just like, man, how am I going to pay for it? Like, you just look at a big wedding and you're like, I need 100 million naira. And it's not like I was not making money, but I didn't have 100 million naira to go and spend on my wedding. You know what I'm saying? And
just on the wedding, not just post.
I didn't have it. So every year people were like, am I now? That was a big impediment for me for a long time, Yeah, and then maybe, I guess I was in a different place in my life now where I was a little bit free from that, and it helped me get married at the time. If not, I might have still been scared about it. Who knows?
Did you face any kind of stigma on that basis?
I feel like, man, that's one of the things we can get away with now.
Yeah, nobody says, "Oh, you're not married."
Even though your dad is stressing you, even when you're 40, he will still do the same thing. And he'll be calm. When you walk in the house, he'll be like, "Shame, my son has let us down." He will still be like, "You bad boy."
I think the only person that I've seen, I've heard is Don Jazzy. Why do they disturb Don Jazzy? Like, why?
Don Jazzy, because from the eyes of society, he has everything. But look, you're right, man. The thing I like about what you guys shared, then I'll answer your question about marriage. The thing I like about what you guys shared is that I think that the right way to see yourself as a man, and I'm saying this because I'm a man. I'm not a woman, so I can't speak from a woman's perspective.
Definitely.
I have deep respect and empathy for when our sisters talk about their own perspective in society. I have a deep empathy. I try to listen and try to learn. I can't really understand fully because I feel they go through things that are deeper than us, but I try my best to learn and listen. Okay. So, but as a man, I feel really, truly, you are alone on earth, in that if you don't get successful, really, the older you get, nobody's going to care about you. So that's the first reality you have to learn. Like, man, okay, when I was a boy, my family cared about me. But when I become 30, people are like, you have friends. Do you know what I mean? But I'm like a babe or something. But even she's like,
there's no obligation.
It's my time. What's happening here? Do you know what I'm saying? Then you become 40, you're doing okay. But if you're like 45 and things have not clicked for you, that's where you understand how society treats men. When you're 50 and it's not popped. Damn. You're going to know that society. So we have that reality. In that case, I feel you should carefully select a helper. Helper not in a way of like servant. Don't look at it that way. Helper in the way like if you're stuck on the road, you need someone to come and help you. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So look for somebody that you're like, this is my mission on earth, and I can be very honest with this person. This is what I want to do. And I feel if you and I do this together, and you also tell me what you're working on and we collaborate, we can get a lot done together because two is more powerful than one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the power of marriage. Two is more powerful than one. It's not easy. It's not easy. In fact, for you to be married, you must become a man. Ragavite say. Let me tell you something. You've been gymming by not doing anything. You have conversations where you be bench pressing. You'll be a man. Real man.
How do you feel like you're ready? Like, how do you feel like
you can never be ready.
Wow.
Can you be ready for the first time in the gym? You can never be ready. The only way to prepare for the gym is to be gymming. Do you understand? You can't be ready. You must go and do it. That's marriage. You cannot be ready. You cannot outsmart it. Let me tell you why you cannot outsmart it. It's not the person. It's you. You are fighting yourself. It's just that now for the first time, you have somebody that watches you. You know what I'm saying? That watches you and will be able to be a mirror to you all the time.
Yeah.
So you see yourself. Really, if you get angry, you're going to see it very clearly.
Yeah.
If you have emotional dysregulation, meaning that you don't know how to get to a point and now relax yourself. So for a lot of men, what they do is just walk away from the conversation. Or they're like, man, nobody can talk to me that way. Things like that. You come and face that thing. It's not the person, it's you. You know what I mean? It's you. You're the person. If you're bad at money management, do you know what I mean? You face it.
Yeah.
You deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, is that a bad thing or is it a good thing? It's a great thing.
It's a great thing. Yeah.
It's like going to the gym. It's a great thing.
Yeah.
When you go to the gym, you come back like, you don't know what I faced today. But who benefits?
You.
You know what I mean? You're the one that benefits. So, like now, coming back to you now, like, just imagine having, again, not in the way of a servant or lesser, but imagine having a helper with you 247. You woke up this morning, the person's like, I know what you're working on. I got your back. Let me take care of this side. When you come back home, the person's like, that part you couldn't handle, I did. Then you're like, look, on my way, I did your part. So our dating journey is about carefully calculating who that person is. Carefully looking. You change his house, you know, go they follow baby anyhow now. You go they calculate. Calculate. Because what you have is so precious. Your life and your dreams.
Yeah.
You're a king. As a man, you're a king. You came here to establish your kingdom.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful thing. And you need someone to help you. You can't do it on your own. Two is more powerful than one.
And then vice versa, you help her as well.
Yeah.
That's why I said she's the one helping you. That's the way to see it.
Yeah.
Don't see it like, when we say helper, a lot of times I feel people think of a servant.
Yeah.
That's what they're thinking about. But don't think about it that way. Think about it, you're in a pit.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get out.
Yeah.
You've been trying to get out for weeks. You need somebody to come by and be like, let me get a rope and throw it down and bring you out.
So like, I like the way you're describing your wife.
No, because the person, like, let's take it back. Like, let me say, for me, for instance, let me use like, I want to use something honest. I don't just want to pick up category. Actually, you know what? I don't need to talk about myself. Let me just pick something. We spoke about money management, right?
Yeah.
So when
you can speak about yourself.
Yeah, I was trying to pick something really relevant, but then I was like, wow, I'm wasting time. Let me just pick something. So
okay.
When you now meet the fight about money in your marriage, understand that if you're bad at managing money, you are in a hole. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You're actually in a hole. Even if you're like, this hole is my kingdom. Nobody can come into this hole. Do you know what I'm saying? It's still a hole. So that person is still your helper. Those fights and those arguments is still your helper.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a way of bringing you out of that thing for you to be. You know what I mean? Just that you can't run now.
Even if you're self-aware, you need that helper.
You need it. You need it. Because what are you even doing it for? What are you doing it for?
Funny enough, no. Yeah. Sorry, like how I see this stage of my life and I tell my friends is, I call it nobody's coming to save you era.
Yeah.
So like now that I'm a single man, like I'm literally like, if I don't, for example, like if I wake up in the morning, I live alone. If I wake up in the morning and I decide not to eat, nobody's going to tell me, come and eat.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to go to the kitchen to make anything for me or ordering for me.
So imagine meeting that babe now that when you just meet her, because sometimes we don't pay attention to them because maybe we are distracted by the other babes. But imagine meeting that babe that's just like, hey, I noticed that nobody cared for you to eat. Do you know what I mean? And then you ate, then you came back and she was like, hey, do you know, you're not really good at this. Let me do this. All of a sudden now you are two fighting for even the two mission. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why you have to avoid. In fact, dating should be about avoiding people. There are many people that don't have that skill set from the beginning. What they're trying to get from you is completely different. They have a different journey. You know what I mean? And honest, when you meet, but you should be avoiding to try and find what you need. Once you know, who am I? Where am I in my life? Where am I stuck? What are the things I'm bad at? What are the things I'm good at? Make your list. Blah, blah, blah. What do I need help on? You write the list, blah, blah, blah. Then you now start like a lion, start hunting.
Funnily enough,
who is good at this? Who is good at that? You find out, you check. Is she?
So no settling. Keep going.
With your life? With your life?
There was a church.
Don't be deceived.
there was a church sermon one time I was in church and it was one of these marriage series, you know. And obviously, like, I'm not looking to marry, but like I was still listening. Like I didn't come to church to listen to that, but I can't tell the pastor what to preach or what to not. So, you know, I think one thing that stuck onto me, and this was like 2 years ago, but I remember very well. And I when in every relationship, everybody I'm trying to talk to, I look at that. One of the qualities I look at for a woman is nurturing. You know, I feel like a woman, like that should be like part of like the female energy, you know. But you know, and there was something the pastor also said was your partner should be able to recognize your needs and wants. You don't need to say them to recognize it. And just in addition to what you were saying, it was more so of just, you know, like, I noticed you didn't, you said, I noticed you haven't eaten, you know. And like, it's somebody that cares for you, like somebody that wants to like, save you in this life, that will actually recognize your needs and wants without you even having to speak. from your body language, from your tone of voice on the phone, everything just recognized. And like, it's hard to find that in anybody. And that's why, like, I understand why you have to keep on searching. Unfortunately, M.I has found his zone.
No, you keep hunting. But I want to say something about what you said.
Yeah.
Because, so you're right. But let me tell you my experience from marriage. You're right. But the first thing is that both men and women have the nurturing energy, and we have the, let's call it the critical energy. Right?
Yeah.
Let's call those two energies, right? The nurturing soft energy. And truly, most men prefer that energy. Why? Because the critical energy or the strong energy, in a way, when they've really seen it as men, a lot of times it's not been a positive thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not a positive thing. So it's either fighting or strife or... So, but it is the opposite of the nurturing energy. So for the nurturing energy to emerge, the strong energy has to be there. You understand? So what does that mean? In society today, we try to talk about it like when people go on a date and they say, who should pay? Right? It's a very shallow, low-level conversation.
Low-quality argument.
It's a low-quality expression of what we're talking about. Who is going to be the strong? Who's going to be the soft? You know? And now this permeates to everything. Financial planning. Thinking about medical problems. Thinking about our real estate. Thinking about our home. Thinking about all those things. So what I would just say is that you are probably not going to find... I think it will be easier to find a partner in practical things rather than emotional things. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll be able to see if the person is a better fit by what they do, less than necessarily how they make you feel. You know what I mean? Because the closer you get into a relationship, you are going to feel some feelings. It doesn't matter who the person is. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter how you started. You are going to feel some feelings. Those feelings are not the person. They are you. They are your feelings.
They're your feelings.
They are your own feelings. So if you push away from the relationship, you're just saying, I don't want to deal with this feeling with you. But the feeling is going to be there. You must deal with it. Do you know what I'm saying? Or whatever is at the end of the feeling, you will not discover. So I just say that to say that, like, I'm finding that it is my responsibility as much as it's my wife's responsibility. If I want her to bring out a certain energy, it's a team effort. You know, it's not her responsibility alone. On the emotional side, that energy is something we must both... You see that yin and yang? It's like we must both produce it. So let's say, for instance, you're dating and... we went into dating so deeply. Is this a relationship podcast?
We've gone so deep. I was thinking of how we'll go back, but
I'm sorry, I've stopped. Let's go back. I'm the one that diverged you guys.
No, you were going to say, so you have to finish what you were saying.
No, just say that in that energy, just find that the more you work on becoming like a better man, becoming more solid, like it doesn't look for your partner, but you're going to see naturally a lot of the energy. You know, as you heal your own energy, you create the space for the other energy. That's the way I describe it. You know what I mean? You know?
I've taken all the notes.
If you feel non-nurtured, that's maybe you. That's what I'm trying to say. So that means maybe actually nobody's looked out for you for a long time. It's not your partner's fault. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you need to, you know what I'm saying? Your partner might be the one bringing it out, but actually maybe just be the way the world has treated you. Do you understand? And you know what I mean? So sometimes it's complex. I don't know. Let's not.
This feels like therapy.
Sorry, guys.
Don't worry.
Money in Nigeria is very important.
I mean, but like, don't worry. I'll invite you to my wedding. So you.
When I find like the perfect, I'll show it to you.
We'll come for couples therapy.
We'll come for therapy.
Please, let me tell you something. For real though, you know, if like I think men don't talk about. That's why I asked the question because honestly, even though I ended up responding, you saw I was listening to you so intently. Like I really am like, wow. I hear so much about some ladies were talking about dating the other day. And I was just like, wow, I want to talk to some men and hear from their perspective. And It's crazy, man. The burden on you guys, and then there's no economic opportunity.
Exactly.
So even when you work hard, it's like you're chasing this place that you can't even get to before you can get this thing you deserve, which is
exactly.
Unfair.
I mean, speaking on back to the music and everything. I listened to your album Study of Self-Worth, and I think there was one song, I don't know if it was Last Night I Had a Dream About Me, Brother, Do You Know Who You Are? And it was more so of I'm thinking of the angle of how difficult is it, or which is much more difficult, breaking through or staying consistent. So you said something earlier about, like younger rap artists, in the way you advise and the way you see conversations with younger people and seen it as a form of like, you're helping those people. So I think one of those songs, I can't remember which, I think you're having the discussion with the therapist at the end of the song, and you kind of like spoke about your fear of like, do I stop while I'm up? Or when do I know how to release control to the processes and all that stuff? So I don't know if you remember 2018 album.
Wow, I remember very well.
So like you spoke to the therapist about that, and you kind of like were in a dilemma of, how difficult was it for you to stay consistent as a rapper? Like, or when do you know when to stop? When do you know when to just, relinquish full control to like the younger artists you were mentoring and all that stuff? So like, which one was actually much more difficult, staying consistent or actually breaking through?
Do you know, this is a group question answer we're going to come up with. I said sometimes the question is the answer. This is a great question. So when you were thinking about it, I started thinking about, let's think about it. And then we'll all come up with an answer. In the whole room, there are two men and they have a big wall in front of them. One of them says, I just want to break through. The second one says, I just want to stay consistent. Which one of them is doing the more difficult task?
Breaking through.
Breaking through.
Like, when does the breaking through person stop? Let's try and listen.
When the wall is broken.
What about the consistent person? When do they stop?
Never,
really. Is it?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer. We're figuring it out together. I'm just asking questions. What do you guys think?
I mean, stay consistent. Like, obviously, like I feel like consistency involves things like you evolving. So I feel like
But I think when you break through, I feel like when you break, you evolve. Though. Like so for example, like we're in this room now, and like there's this wall, and like everybody's trying to like when.
So let's say two of you now, and I want to give both of you a rule.
Yeah.
This wall, I give both of you a hammer. I said one of you should break through, one of you should be consistent. Who have I given the hardest work to?
The breaking
through.
The breaking through.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with the breaking through.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know. I've seen the more consistent guy because I feel as if I can break through in an hour, and then I'm like, I'm done, finished. But the guy that's consistent,
it's a longer time.
He has to keep
longer period.
He broke through maybe 2 hours. He broke through, but he keeps going. Keeps going.
In the angle of time,
he keeps going. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't have the answer. Maybe you guys would judge. It's a good question. Everybody I will listen to it. It's a good question. I think for me, I think that being consistent is harder, and maybe that's why I'm doing that. But I also feel it depends. Maybe it depends on the person as well. Maybe there's somebody who's just has a weak hand and is like. But then somebody that has a weak hand too is like, I'm going to try and break through.
Yeah.
And he just keeps trying and trying. So maybe it's perspective, For me right now, I think it's the consistency that's more difficult.
It's more difficult.
Was that the mindset behind that song?
That's a good question. Okay, I'm trying to think of the song you're thinking of. Well, my whole album and the conversation. I think staying consistent is harder because you have to then let go. You have to really let go. I have to realize that it's not proper for me to be a young rap superstar anymore. It's not proper. I'm a 43-year-old man, So even though I can go and sing about, Shorty got a back and a 21-year-old man or 25-year-old man that's singing it, he's living it. He just left home when he was 6 years ago. He met his first babe. That one broke his heart. Now he met this one and he just loves her. He's singing. I'll remind her he's feeling it.
Yeah.
I'm 43. I'm lying. I'm faking it. I'm just doing it to be popular. So I have to let go because I can see that the young man is going to get paid $1 million because that's what people want. I can see it. But would I lie just so I can get paid? Or do I continue working on my craft?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So for me, it's more difficult for me now being consistent. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm sure for the younger guys who just want to break through, who are all living the same example.
Yeah.
So to them, that story is a true story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure to them it's harder to break through.
Because I have so many friends, upcoming artists, and I understand like the way they lament. Like, it's so hard. Like I've people that have been doing music for like 3 years, like they just feel like not broken through. Like, since when we left uni, even in uni then, it's just, the way they just scream about how difficult it was. So I was like, let me ask, but like the way you talk about your beginning era, your beginning time, it just seems like, like you just did the work, but the work is harder staying consistent. And I understand why it's harder staying consistent.
I guess, also, if the goal is to be on the other side, then the focus is breaking through. But if the goal is to become a great cement breaker, then that changes now. Now the tool is consistency, know. So I think a lot of times the world makes us feel like the goal is to get to the other side. I've passed the wall. But I feel the real excitement, just like you now, it's like, or you guys, to have a great world-class podcast.
Yeah.
If you guys just focus on that, you may not even notice when you break through. If every month you just come out, it's like, how do we get better? How do we improve? What did we do right? How do we get our content better? And you just focus on that. Right before I came here, there's a young artist that came to my house, and I asked her a question. I said, how is it going? And she was like, Then I said, answer from this perspective. The improvement of your skills. And she said, oh, it's going great. Her whole energy changed. And I was just like, if you change your perspective, if you're like, I'm becoming a great musician, then it changes your perspective. You're like, wow, I'm doing so well. I'm becoming better. And what I told her is that when you become a master, the world cannot ignore you. So from that perspective, even if it takes you 10, 20 years, if you're just worried about, I want to be the greatest at this, and you keep building at it, you're going to get there. Yeah. And when you get there, the world cannot ignore you. But if you're just like, I want to be rich, now the game changes, because now they're like, okay, we want Odumodu now for the next 18 months. Stop. Now we want Lona. Now stop, everybody. Arasta. This is the new. So you have to keep adjusting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Look, both are very valuable. But there's some people that break through and that changed. Like me, I broke through and it changed my life.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ever say like sound too altruistic about it. It's a struggle out there, but may God be with us.
See, I was going to ask.
He asked such deep questions, by the way. This is what you go through on this podcast.
Yeah, pretty much. I was going to ask. Speaking about evolving and consistency. So like in Nigeria, it's a system where like artists, after a while, they leave their labels and then go on to own labels or start like a management company or something. Like when did you know that it was time for you to become just leave just being a rapper to now becoming an exec?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a very good question. And unfortunately, the answer is a little bit, not too long, but it's a little bit of a story.
No, I'm waiting for it.
So I came into music as an exec.
Wow.
So what that means is that we were in Jos this is the lowest budget exec of all time in Nigeria, in the Nigerian history of Nigerian music. You know what I'm saying? See, this is what you like. When they're insulting somebody, that's when you look up. You know what I'm saying? Our eyes have been down since, but when you don't hear lowest budget, you say yes. Who's that? But I was the one. And what happened was that my brother was very talented. There were a few people were very talented. I was like, guys, we have a group here. We have a team. Let's set it up. Let's listen. I'll be the manager.
Yeah.
You know, I was also making music and talented. And then, so when we would go to the studio session, I would also record. But really, I was like the group team leader. Then my music I got signed. And the opportunity came for me. And we even had an office meeting. I remember I was like, guys, should I take this opportunity or not?
Yeah.
I was like, should I be loyal to the team at that time? You know, loyalty was very important to me.
Yeah.
And so I already had that. Now, I then became an exec officially by just speaking up in the label. I was always the artist. I was like, how do we need to do that? So one day they were like, we're going to pick a VP of music. And they just voted for me, you know. Not to say I was not. It's not like I was surprised. Like, what, me? You know, I kind of like I was vocal. Yeah. Me being born, so it was not like
it was a no-brainer.
I'm shocked. No, it was like, okay, I accept. So, and then, but I wasn't. And then Audi one day asked me to become the CEO. I didn't also. You know, really want it. So, I think I have a role to play on that side that I'm trying to complete as well. You know, I've done a lot on my music side, but I also want to work on the structures and the understanding of how we relate in the music space and contribute in that side as well. Because I've had the opportunity of having experience in both. So
that's really nice.
That's very interesting. And I understand, you know, even everything, like you do everything, like you produce everything, like you've always had your hand in the music. And it was
like
just
this guy here.
Yeah.
It's who we are. I'm sure if I go into everybody's story here, we all have that similar story.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot, like I used to draw and animate. But when I was a baby, again, the lowest level animator in the history of my comedy career was a failure. My animation career is a failure. You know, the point I'm trying to make is that when we are creatives, we don't know what kind of creative we are. We just have an energy, and we want to draw. Yeah, so then as we start doing them, we start being like, okay, I like this, I like that. But I feel it's the same for all of us. Like once I see someone on the camera, I'm like, did you sing at some point in your life? They'll be like, maybe. But I used to play guitar, or I did sports. It's like our energy, and we Africans, we have that thing in us from birth.
And it's crazy because I feel like if you don't do these things when you're young, like when do you do them? Like you actually need to try. Like if you don't, what could actually have happened? Do you understand? Like you tried, you made beats, you drew everything until when you finally realize that rap is actually your calling. Do you understand? And that's how I feel like that's the age that I'm in right now. Like I'm doing everything that I can do, man. Do you understand?
How many things you do? And then you too as well.
I mean, on the basis right now, aside from like my day job of like working in an experiential marketing agency, we've been hosting this podcast for 5 years, by the way. Do you understand? And when we started, we only knew about Loose Talk. Isaac knew about Loose Talk. The first podcast I listened to was Just and Jollof by some Nigerian-based Americans. It wasn't even in Nigeria. And I think I said what I said and Road to 30. Those were the only podcasts that we knew Nigeria. So it wasn't, and that time I was recording on SoundCloud.
5 years.
Yeah. So like, there's so many, there's literally...
What OGs need those shooting? What OGs?
My respect for you guys. So just shot through the roof.
I mean, and you know, when we started at that point, you know, like there was a vision, you understand? And you know, and it also even takes us back to the topic about monetization because we started strictly off passion. Because there's no money, even till now, there's no money on podcasting, as you can see, do you understand? So like,
and guess when the money comes, guess who's gonna go to?
Us.
The guys that have been doing it for 5 years. That's the lesson for every artist.
Yeah.
You know, that's why consistency is
Consistency,
important.
Yeah.
When people ask me, I've had situations where people ask us to come and speak about podcasting. You know, I've been to Yabata. I've gone back to my alma mater, Covenant University, to like, you know, speak. And when people say, oh, what makes a great podcast? I'll say, you know, consistency, good quality, and good content. Those are everything. Those are literally what makes a great you have to make sure your audio quality, video quality, anything quality, and you have to also make sure, because there's literally there's a statistics that most podcasts don't get past the 8th episodes. Do you understand? Like there was a period where we stopped for about 7 months in the first year. We didn't record. It was due to the fact that like people reached out like, we really liked what you guys were building, and the feedback was the biggest form of motivation that made us,
come back.
How do you guys have a number of how many views you've had cumulatively?
Downloads, audio downloads were about like 1.8 million over 100 episodes. Yeah.
So let me show you guys something here, because I think we answered the question that we asked earlier.
Yeah.
So I also was one of the first podcasters. Do you remember this? I don't know if you guys remember, a long time ago, I had Loose Talk, but that was like my 3rd attempt of podcasting. Yeah.
Really?
Not only that, I've been on historic podcast episodes. And not only that, I'm a very famous person, but you are a much greater podcaster than me. And you use consistency. You didn't use breakthrough. Do you understand? So you answered the question here.
Hard.
You know what I'm saying? Because what you've done, no matter how I try, even if I try put ₦1 million behind the podcast, I cannot beat what you've built with consistency.
True.
And that's the lesson for artists, like consistency pays you back. It's painful. It's a painful load, but it pays you back in time, And I'm very happy to hear, like, let me tell you guys something. You guys you're in the market for the future. You are sowing. You'll probably write books about this thing down the line. What it means to not give up and keep going. And there's a verse in the Bible. I mean, are you Christian, Muslim?
Yeah,
Christian. Okay. So there's a verse in the Bible that talks about like God doing his good, acceptable, and perfect will. And I always used to wonder, like, what are the 3 things? Why do you say good, acceptable, and perfect will? So good, what I found is that a lot of times in the Bible, when you see the word good, it refers to things of men, like money. When it refers to perfect, it refers to the way God is. So like consistent. God is a God of consistency. He always shows up.
Yeah.
Gives us rain every year. Gives us sunlight every day. Gives us breath every day. He never gives up. No matter what we do, we're just doing anyhow. He's like, don't worry, I'm consistent.
Take it.
Right? What's acceptable? I do understand that. Now, as a famous person, I can tell you, there are many times, even when you do a good thing, it's not acceptable. For instance, our politicians. A lot of them are popular, they have money, but people don't accept it.
Yeah.
People have bad hearts towards them. So then it clicked to me that, oh, wow, something being acceptable means that even other people, even your haters, they'll be like, but those guys deserved it. So I started thinking about people it's people like you. You work hard on something, you really put your blood into it, sweat and tears. And sometimes it looks like, what are we doing? But when the success comes, you have money. It will be built on real consistency. The way, not like you just came and you're popular or anything.
Yeah.
In the way God is himself, his own nature.
Yeah.
And even other human beings will be like, man, these guys deserve it. They work for it. Your children will be like, my father is the one that he built it for 30 years. He never gave up. And acceptable. So keep going, man.
I have a small question in that. Like, I always wonder, like, what's the difference between like, and I want to just share your perspective on it. Like, what's the difference between being patient, God's time, and wasting your time? Like, because we've had times where Isaac and I would have conversations and be like, and funnily enough, we have a friend, Road to 30. They ended their podcast. They did their podcast and they clocked 30 this year. So they ended it as they clocked 30 because they know what the podcast was, Road to 30.
Wow.
So our last episode, we had an episode with him and we spoke at length, and we just had so many times that he has accepted that it felt like it was time for them to like stop all the way up or just stop. They just felt like they needed to. They've been doing the podcast for 6 years, just like a year above us, and they just felt like they needed to stop. And they were every Sunday for about 2 years they dropped an episode. And their episodes are always like over 2 hours. They have episodes 6 hours. They have the longest Nigerian podcast episode, 7 hours episode and all. So I think there was, times where we would have conversation and it just felt like this whole podcast thing, maybe we're wasting our time. Maybe this thing will never break through in Nigeria. And I always just wonder, like, have you just been patient?
This man is so wise. My Lord. What a wise man. They're a wise man.
So in my head, and as a Christian,
this man is a wise man.
And as a Christian, I understand like, oh, God's time, So like, it's like, am I being patient? Am I wasting my time? Is it God's time? Like, I always get very confused,
You're a wise man.
Thank you.
Because we answered the question, but you asked another question for us to even go deeper. He's the one that asked the question about consistency. You guys were here. Cameras were here.
Yeah.
He asked us the question first. We went deep into consistency. We started from there. Now you came and answered in your second question. But maybe some people were still like, you now went deeper. Okay, so you said being patient, God's time.
I'm wasting your time.
Okay. So the easiest of the three for me to answer is God's time. So what I'll say about God's time, my own perspective is that if you are a Christian and you read the Bible, God has answered that question of his time in the Bible. That's what I'm figuring out the more I read the Bible. The problem is that most of us don't read. It's very difficult to read the Bible every day, you know what I'm saying? Or read the Quran for people that are there. But go and read your scripture every day. The answer to God's time is there and it's clear. You know what I'm saying? I cannot speak for him.
Yeah.
He has spoken for himself. He has a book for you. Now, wasting your time. Okay. I'm sitting here on this podcast because you started by saying African rapper number one. The major thing that made me African rapper number one is a career that's dead now. I was a producer. I used to work in the studio for other people's music.
Yeah.
I'm no longer a producer. In fact, I'm not even known as a producer. I get 0 accolades for producer. That career is dead. But did I waste my time doing it?
No.
I didn't. Because it is what I eventually used in my real job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? My real calling. So I think wasting your time is when you are not working hard or you're lazy. But even if you work on something that dies, you still worked on it and it changed you. And whatever you do next, you are going to be now the person. Everybody that was on that podcast will go forth their life and be like, I was on a podcast and we did it for 2 years and we did 100 episodes and I've changed because of that. Now I'm prepared to take on the next thing. Their time is not wasted. The only way you can say it's wasted is if you decide to say, everybody that did podcast for 2 years, let's calculate your money. Now we're doing something. Now we're comparing.
Yeah.
We're now comparing. Now, let's say we compare. We now say, this person made 10 naira. That person made 1 million naira. Still, we've not said anything. If the person that made 10 million naira feels bad, it means that he said, I wanted 1 million naira. Now he's coveting. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, wasting your time, it's very possible you can waste your time. You came to this thing, you came late. Like today, I wasted you guys' time by 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
I mean, you told us beforehand. You told us a day before.
Thank you. I'm glad that you did. Or I woke up in the morning, I was supposed to wake up, I didn't, you're wasting my time. But if you came and you worked hard, it's going to make you African rapper number one, even though nobody will know you as a producer. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
Consistency does not lie. It speaks for you. Do you know what I'm saying? That hard work speaks for you. Now, the last one, patience. From my perspective, that's the right way for you to orient your mind as you go through life. And we only see patience sometimes on the side of breaking through. But the truth about it is that you need it more when you've broken through.
Yeah.
It's just the way you should just be. You should just learn to be patient. Why? People have so many problems. The country's broken. And you can either give yourself hypertension and stress, or you can be like, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to work hard and I'm going to do it in a patient way. M.I says I'm going to come late. No problem. That's fine. And it's tough, but I feel that that's the right way to do it. So I think the major thing that we get wrong in our country is that we are always comparing. Let me tell you the truth about it. I do it myself too. There's somebody that just released an album, and in that album, they were making fun of me. And they were making fun of me. They said, M.I used to drive a G-Wagon. Now he's driving this. And when I heard it, it pained me. I had to sit down and be like, why did he pain me? Because as a human being, nobody wants to be embarrassed by somebody saying, this one no get money.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of ego when somebody says, you don't get money. You try to defend yourself. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I've built? Do you know what I've done? You want to just respond that way. You know what I mean? But then I just sat there and I was like, but what are you working on, Jude? And I just focused on that. Am I wasting my time? Because that's the reason that thing will insult me. You were just doing this. You did this as a rapper. You wasted your time. No. If you know that when I was in Chocolate City, when I was a famous star, I was working hard. And when I got to the end of that journey, I packed up those winnings, put it in the corner. I went on to my next thing. If you see me through that lens, you're going to know that this guy's not wasting his time. He knows where he's going. You know what I'm saying? He knows where he's going. So those words, unfortunately, just... sometimes you feel it.
Yeah. Just
Why? Because I know I'm not wasting my time.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I feel we just need to learn. Is like, it's very difficult for you to assess yourself truly. Because sometimes that's like, I was actually procrastinating. I was actually, I'm now envious of this person.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm jealous of this. But what am I doing my own time? Did I come to my podcast? Did I give you my best? Did I learn? Did I put it out there?
Yeah.
Once you do that, it will speak for you. That I promise you. You will be known as African rapper number 1 because you were hustling producer number 1. Or you were hustling producer number 100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Yeah. So just to take us back a bit, you talked about you being one of the first podcasters in Nigeria. Something about that.
Failed podcasters.
Yeah.
The point I was trying to be, I started it like gang so I could bring it down to the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the consistency. When we got to that's why you guys are greater than me. You know what I mean? In that arena.
But
by far.
But for me, I wouldn't be here if not for you. Because the first podcast I ever watched in my life was you on Loose Talk. And
my one hit. One hit wonder. So my podcast has 13 episodes. Some episodes. That's what I'm saying. It's not about breaking through, it's about consistency.
Consistency.
It's what you guys have. You know?
Yeah.
And sorry. But you were saying about the Loose Talk.
Yeah, so like when I listened to that episode, I became like a Loose Talk listener. And then when he hit me up like, let's start this podcast, I'm like, this thing.
It's like a full circle
moment.
Yeah,
it's a full circle moment for me. Yeah, it's a full circle moment.
About him and I.
It's like, it was all the ripple effect.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
So,
shout out to Osagi, by the way. Osagi, Steve, and AOT.
Yeah.
So just, you speak so much about like, young creatives, and you're sort of like you're a creative entrepreneur, not even, even with Tasck, that's where we're heading to this time now. And obviously like Tasck is a purpose-driven, startup. And we had a brief conversation about it the other day that we met. And I just always like wonder like what led you to like, just come up with something like that. And I understand like monetization for young creatives is something everybody looks at in whatever you're doing. So I just like wonder like what was your mindset? Like what was, what the purpose, how was your mindset behind starting a purpose-driven creative agency like Tasck?
Man, I'm gonna, nobody's ever really asked me this question in this way. And I'm gonna answer you like you're gonna have maybe the first recorded answer of this question. So I thought to myself through a series of I took maybe 2-3 weeks to just reorient my life, because when I left Chocolate City, I had a real crisis of identity. I was like, man, I'm no longer the CEO of this label. What am I going to do? So I took some time off to reorient my life. And when I did, I asked myself, I said, okay, what do I want to do before I die? That if the 5-year-old version of M.I sees, he would be like, wow, that masterclass. When we were 5, we used to look at the world like, dun, 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 this world can't wait for me to come. You know what I mean? So I said, let me go back. So you just imagine like having a stadium, but 1 seat. That seat is your 5-year-old version. So I took a long time and thought about it, and I came up with one problem. Creatives get treated like crap. And I just was so true to me that from the first time you tell your family members I'm talented, the way they look at you, when you're struggling in school, when you're you just have a difficult life. It's just a very painful, difficult life. You have to ask, you have to try to raise money, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And I just said, if I could help contribute to making that solution, the world change, it's human beings that create change in the world, but they have to be consistent over long periods of time. They have to try, they have to strive, they have to keep going to create real change. Not just I'm popular, you have to be consistent. It's like building the Great Wall of China. It takes long time. A permanent change in the world. But can I contribute to a permanent change so that if you are born creative, imagine that the day that they are burying me, one child is born and they say, this child is a creative, and everybody starts celebrating. That's something young 5-year-old Jude will be proud of. So immediately that became clear to me. I was like, we begin. And to be honest, it's not like I had a clear path. You know what I mean? That path here, I had to start reading. I had to fail. In fact, I've changed my mindset about failure now. If I want to do something, I count the failure. I don't count the success. This is what I say. Let's go back to, we're talking about music. I'll tell you, an artist, don't show me how many hit singles you have. Show me how many failed singles you have. If as an artist, you're like, I want to put out 100 failed singles, you're probably going to have a hit soon. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
By changing your mindset to expect failure, you're probably going to get success by just going hard. Because a lot of times that fear of failure that stops you. What if I do that, nobody likes it? Okay, do it and let nobody like it. And do it again. So I failed. I've also gotten so much rejection, One day I was pitching to somebody about Tasck, and he was just looking at me. I was like, it's like, Emma, is everything okay? We don't need to go. I have my proposal. Emma must really want this money.
And I told you a friend of mine met you in was he San Francisco, Florida, or something like. Emma is in my office. So like, I don't know where Emma knows how they do startup. Like, said in the group chat, and then we researched and talked about it. Like,
hey. In fact, I even got there by somebody that listened to me, saying, I can't see it.
Wow.
I can't see it. I'll prepare. Right? Oh, crap. I had a deal room to send out today. For that, don't forgive me for that. I will show you the podcast. I was recording. I was going to send out the deal room. So deal room is like, it's like a folder of assets.
Yeah.
Information about your company that you send for investors. I'm trying to raise investment for my company.
Yeah.
So I've maybe spoken to...
If you're listening and you're an investor.
Yeah, please.
Come on.
Gentlemen, no, real talk. If you want to invest,
No, but how? Because you're talking about having like, I've forgotten the word. When you left Chocolate City, I think you said
the crisis of identity.
Yeah, crisis of identity. Thank you. So how is it now for you to go into like a room where like there's like young people who looked up to you when you were like this big rapper in Chocolate City, and now you're pitching to them? Like how easy has that been for you?
Now I even have a big vision. So when I go, I say, we're going to change the world. So they can see like, oh, okay, M.I wants to change the world. But when I started, we were just pitching for grants. So sometimes I would just go and maybe the project manager was like 28. And, M.I, oh my God, can I take a picture? We finish and say, okay, now sit down. I'm now talking about $3,000. I'm now pitching. So sweaty, we might die. So we're going to change the thing. It's not easy because, especially as an artist, you build a very strong ego.
Yes.
I can't do this, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do this, I can't do that. You can. You can't because you're a man. You're not defined by the number of things you can't do. That's the wrong way to look at life. You should be counting the number of things you can't do.
You can't do.
So you can, because if it's on the path to your dream, you have to do it. If you want to have a family, for instance, it means that you can wash toilets. Because if your children get sick, you should never say, I can't do that.
It's true.
There's a man in the house. I'm going to go drive Uber. I'm going to go and wash toilets. When I meet creatives who are working, I'm always very proud of them because, you have your dream. But here I am serving, learning, earning to keep my dream alive.
Yeah.
Take pride in that. Take confidence in that, And I hope I've lived that journey. Like I keep moving forward. To be honest, it's now stronger. But when I first, so like my wife and I, we go back and forth to the US quite a bit. And at first, when I started going, in fact, when I first met my wife, I told her at first, I was like, listen, baby, I'm gonna put you on a flight, business class, come through. I want you to know every flight, I got you. So my wife is a boss, you know what I mean? She's top level exec. And she was just like, hey, you don't even need to worry about that. You know what I mean? I fly economy all the time because she works, and she works in the nonprofit. So she's the top of a nonprofit, but in the nonprofit world, it's kind of seen as unethical for you to fly business class. So even the top leaders, CEOs, a lot of times you see them in economy, which is the thing I really emulate.
Yeah.
But however, my brother, the first day that, because now dollars today doing like this.
Yeah.
So do I want to love? Do I want to keep my relationship?
Yes, man.
The first day that I had to buy economy ticket to go to America, 13 hours flights as MI. It's a new world now.
Yeah.
It's a new world.
Yeah.
The first time I did, I put mask. That time there was mask. So I just put my mask. I had an excuse. So even when masks were going away, Nigerians, the first time they told them to remove masks, they offed it. I still keep my mask. I just like, people be like,
this is
But now, I'm so proud. I'm so proud to sit in the back. Why?
And yeah.
Because it's on my mission. This is what made me MI. Chasing my dreams. On a bicycle, in a bus, in a canoe. What you should have seen when you saw me on top of the food chain is you should have seen somebody that chases his dreams. You should not have seen the money. You should not have seen the accolades. You should not have seen the awards. I should not have seen that. I should have seen my consistency, my hard work, my never give up attitude. That's what's worth preserving. That's the consistency,
Sure.
To me, that's why consistency is stronger than easy.
Breaking through.
Free us now. Can we move on? He's just tricking us.
He's the philosopher he was talking about in the beginning.
He's tricking us. Asking us the same question in different ways.
I mean, just in addition, like I think when I mentioned my 3 biggest fears, and my third was, just not, living an impactful and purposeful life. And even as a Christian and as somebody that I've just, even this podcast, I think about it. Like when I see people, people talk about this podcast, I save them from depression, heartbreak, help them get a job, so many different things, and I just look at it as you're somebody also, like even from the conversation and the way you answered the question, you're so big about living a purposeful and impactful life, and not just for yourself, or everybody around you, for Africa as a whole, even in entertainment, hip hop, so many people. At the beginning, I told you I was in junior school, when Safe dropped. Was it 2008, 2009? Between that, your red jackets, the video like this, this is like the words flying in. Like I remember, and that time I also had a brief rap career. Just
like me, I had a brief podcast career. You know what I mean?
Yes, I was that one. The bars it wasn't natural for me, but it's still emulates like, also like with what you're doing with Tasck as well. And I just feel like, how are you able to, with Tasck, able to help young creatives sort of like align their creativity with like their social responsibility, like leaving an impact? Like how does Tasck help them with that?
Yeah. Look, I mean, to be honest, I think, well, thank you again. You guys have said so many kind things about me. And I really deeply appreciate them. I would say that I think that the difficult part is not getting Nigerian creatives into like active. They normally are. Like even you guys podcast.
Yeah.
There's social impact in it. Even in the story you told and in the description of it you gave me.
Yeah.
You're trying to do a good thing. That's not the difficult part. I think the difficult part is that the way funding is set up for these programs, makes it feel somehow like there's a game going on. It makes it feel like politics. Like if you've ever worked with some of these NGOs, sometimes you're like, what's happening, you know? And the money that's supposed to go into society and supposed to go into helping us improve. Like most people don't even know what a CSO is for or an NGO is for, you know? It's really a simplified way. It's like there's a problem and we want to raise money and want to solve the problem ourselves. We don't want the government to do it. We don't want, so people put money together, then they appoint somebody to solve the problem. That's a CSO. And the government recognizes those organizations. But that thing has now turned into an industry, you know what I mean, where people are now driving bands on top of it. So you can forgive the artists when they're like, look, I will speak up, but I don't want to get involved in all this because when money gets involved, it gets funny. So that's what we're trying to help solve as Tasck. We're trying to say, look, there's $1 million here and there's some homeless girls on this side, you know, and let me use my sister YJ to say she knows what it's like to be a single mom and she has integrity and she can use her voice. So can she manage $300,000 of it? She'll get paid maybe $30,000 over a year as a salary in a way or as a stipend for her to do the work. And can we get 2 or 3 other people and let them work directly in that space? So we are agents, you know, at Tasck. We want to make those things happen more because I was with Osas today. No, I didn't talk to her, but I was in the program we had today. Osas has fought for malaria. I was sitting next to Antoleki. Antoleki now is at the SSA. Okay, this will come out before then. SSA in Edo State for entertainment.
Wow.
And it's something that she's worked towards. She came out of Big Brother. She did a lot of social impact. And then she's I want to go into government and she's doing it. You know, the stories are enough. Are you going to talk about files? Are we going to talk about like
Mr. Macaroni?
Mr. Macaroni?
People.
Even if you go to the TikTok,
Ashakain.
Like there's so many creatives. Naturally, we just have a good heart. You know, naturally, we just want to create content. Like you were talking about, like think about how, you know, I was thinking about this like the other day. I was somewhere and the chef was cooking. I was like, do you know how spiritual it is for somebody? Like human beings are all acting and one human being is like, I'm going to feed all of you. I will be the one that will prepare the food that all of you eat. But we don't even regard it in society anymore. Like a cook is just like, you know what I mean? But it's a very spiritual act. Like now, your podcast, we were talking about like comparison and all that. Can you imagine that you guys had a dream? You set out that dream. You came together, you raised the money. Maybe you didn't even make, that even makes you even more valiant. Maybe you didn't make so much money, but you kept doing it. And somebody that had mental health challenges went and got your podcast and listened to it. Do you know what you've done for humanity? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what you've done? It even makes it better self that you didn't get $1 million for it. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, of course you're going to get your money, but the fact that you still did it when you didn't have the money and you still helped that person, that's really great. And that's who we are at the core. I feel it's this system and this world that we're in now that makes us use our competitiveness in a negative way. And I feel that's what companies like Tasck can help correct, so that people can just do good and make money and earn money and create jobs and make the world a better place like you guys are doing.
So I've seen that now. What Tasck is doing is really a good thing because creatives are more or less like ignored. Like there's like a music industry, so there's not like an industry for like influencers or for like TikTok creators and all that. And now there's like international interest in these guys. So you see like switch representatives from abroad coming here, funding them and all that. And I personally think that in the long run, it would affect us here because our creators might now be taken there, or like the quality of the content will not lose its Nigerianness or its Africanness. They will now be maybe like for how like now you see artists are now making sounds for like the international community and all that. We might now lose that with our creators here. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I mean, we also work with, like, we're starting with musicians as well to our Tasck. We cover everybody in the creative ecosystem. But you are right. You just perfectly described, like, you know, your question is the answer. What you said is what we're trying to avoid. You know, because that question you asked has the reality of the situation. We've made $45 billion. Last year, I think that the entertainment industry in Africa made 50-something billion dollars. But I think Nigeria's own was like 20 billion naira that came into music or went to Nigerian artists. But do you feel as if $20 billion came to Nigeria?
No.
In our industry? Doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
So something is wrong. Something is wrong. Does it feel as if like the companies that are interacting, does it feel like they look at us like a $20 billion opportunity? Or does it feel like they're just like being like, okay, this guy's popping, come.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
And you're right. So what you're talking about is a real fair. Let me just use an example. Like, you guys are a podcast now. You should have all the support to go into global regions and do what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
But are those ecosystems there that really supercharge you? Do you have to carry the whole weight yourself? Yeah, the platforms are there, but can you really go to the platform and like get all the secrets and get into the real doors and get the connections and meet the networks that you need?
Yeah.
There's more work to be done. And I think you're right in saying that we need to make sure that we are guarded there, because we just got our museum artifacts back. So 200 years ago, the generation of African creators that were there, they made very special things. And they were borrowed for 200 years. They were monetized very well. The whole world went and saw those things and paid money. And after 200 years, they sent it back to us and they said, can we have Afrobeats and films now? Collected it, and TikTok, they're collecting it to go and export and monetize again. Yeah. Same thing happens.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many, you mentioned so many things, and like in addition to financing arts, culture, creativity, like, do you think that there's more roles, like private investors, even government, like, do you think that there's more that needs to be done?
Of course.
Because even with Tasck, like, I feel like this is something that, like, Ministry of Arts should even, like, all of these things, entertainment, like, it just doesn't come to, and it doesn't make it easier for the creative industry. So, like, it's something that, like, you spoke about how you sat down and you had to come to that realization, like, like, how do I want to live an impactful life? Like, what do I want to, that 5-year-old M.I will be proud of? And it's very interesting that, like, you have to think about doing that role for yourself. So, like, you're taking upon that role, and that's a huge role, and you need all the support and, all the investments, government's help and everything. So, like, do you, like, and just how you even spoke about the podcasting, I feel like the only, like, we've been doing this for 5 years, and the only people that have reached out to us was Spotify, and, thankfully to them, and thankfully to them, but even, they kind of like gave us the studio to use,
Amazing.
So, like, and it's
amazing.
Yeah. And
well done, Spotify. Thank you so much.
And they're like,
for answering that question with your actions.
Yeah. So, and they just got into podcasting now. 2023, they reached out to us, and we've been working with them off and on. Obviously, like, sometimes they don't pump.
Can they do more?
Obviously, they wouldn't do more because of, like, maybe podcast is not bringing as much as music, like, doing music. But regardless, it shows that.
Will you bleep me out if you miss me by? Okay. No, I'm just trying to say, whoever the head of Spotify is, this is the head of podcasting. This is this thing. Come, like, look, we want.
She's doing her best.
But that's true. Yeah, I'm actually gonna. Because I actually spoke to somebody from Spotify.
Yeah.
And I remember she spoke to me. I know the Spotify people. And truly, the Africa team, they're really doing a great job. They're really working.
And the funny thing is that, like, at first, we used to push on all of that podcast platforms, or like Spotify, they recognized us, and you know what it is to be recognized. Like, speaking about taking back to.
And well done to them, man. I mean, like, well done.
Yeah.
When you do the work, then you see, they've done the work, and shout out to you guys. Thank you very much.
And, they just thought about, like, what could
even I would even say, as a platform, they've even really been like one of the major proponents of podcasting globally. They've really pushed it as a content vertical, and so
because this SM7B mics are like 250,000 naira each. Like the black magic camera, even if behind there, like everything, like we don't have the resources for them. Isaac and I don't have the resources because the economical needs that we have to. Yet, exactly. Yeah. So we just, it just shows how. In terms of like, and I'm sure even down to artists, like funding, everything, like financial structure is just a struggle, as a creative, and it's just hard. It just makes you it makes your dreams look very unattainable. It makes your purpose look very, bleak. And that's where like staying consistent, not giving up, being patient, all that thing comes in place. But all of these obstacles just makes it difficult. So in terms of financial structure and roles that private investors, governments, people that just believe in the dream or, just helping creatives, like what roles do you think they can do to just help that? Actually, like governments, for example, like what roles do you think they need to do?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, we definitely need to do more. Most of the investment, even today, still comes from the West, and the Western industry. And I would say that, I guess, let me say something negative about the government first before I say something positive so that they won't just jump on my head, But I feel like, this government has given us a creative industry. It's given us a minister. And they've also...
We do? We have
a minister. In fact, I invite you guys for a program we're doing now. She's going to speak.
So all right. Thank you.
She's also... Because it's a new ministry, what I can say about her that's very clear is that she's not stopped moving since she got the role. She's every day, she's up, she's moving. And she's, these people are human beings too as well. So when we judge them, we have to look specifically and judge people, because I feel she's really been a great leader in terms of moving the agenda forward. One of the big things they've done, which you should look into, there's something called the CDEF funding. Okay. I think they're about to put out the Creative Economy Development Fund, CEDF.
Okay.
So this is why we're trying to build a platform for people so that it just automatically gets the information. But they're about to put out some funding. I think it's like maybe things between like could be like $1,000 to $1 million, something in that cap or something, or maybe $100,000. So you can get funding for projects, and so that's one positive. I hope that leads a whole lot of private investment, where we have a lot of billionaires in Nigeria. We have a lot of, there's a lot of controversy when people come talking about like Yahoo, because a lot of artists, that's the funding that they have, and it's when people try to talk about it, I don't want to be misquoted here and say the wrong thing, but what I'm trying to say is that it's an indictment on our country that we have such talented musicians and that the major funding for the industry comes from the West and comes from this other industry. It's an indictment. It shows that something is wrong, which leads us back to your question. So hopefully we can do better.
Interesting.
I didn't get into trouble, Abby. Some dicey moments.
The funny thing is that I think Isaac and I, in the past, we've had conversations about like, like what's funding, nightlife, music, all those things. Like, what's actually keeping Lagos alive, and, some of those, the other industry, like you mentioned.
He actually,
and think about it. This book, like, let's even say, like, I'm a Yahoo boy. I'm not. But let's say I was. And I just made 100 million. Okay, I'm now a criminal that made 100 million.
Yeah.
I still don't have to give it to an artist. I don't even understand. I can blow it how I want to blow it. I can put it in real estate. So what I'm trying to say is that the fact that it goes to artists and that's one of the major ways that artists can make money. To get not make money, but get investment into them. Like there's no place else. It has to be other young people who just so happen to have money. What we're talking about now, we're criticizing society will criticize the method of they got money. But what is relevant is that it's just that there are other young people who have money who are just trying to help. Because they are seeing their talented friend. And that is a statement about Nigeria. It's a statement. It should not be so in a country where we have so many rich people and so many talented young people. why do we have this situation? Who's to blame? Is it the young people that are just trying to survive?
Yeah,
it's very hard to say it is.
And it's so crazy because
that's a deep answer.
It's so crazy because like you spoke about this on the talk like 8 years ago.
Yeah,
and I
was misquoted then because I think people were saying. I think I didn't say it the right way. Let me just say I was misquoted. I think it sounded like I was supporting Yahoo
boys. Yeah,
and at the time as a CEO that had artists that I really cared about, the pressure on me was so real that at times I was just going to sit down and be like, man, if I just met the right guy. Because I wanted my artists to do well, man. CK, Coca. I didn't enjoy sitting there and somebody talking crap about CK. You know what I mean? I want him to do well, but how can I, who doesn't have a rich father, in that way, I don't have any connection to any senator. I don't know how to do anything. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm doing well as an artist, but I'm trying to invest it back into a label like the other artists. And it's more than I can manage. How do I do it? So that just made me have empathy. Maybe the word is trying to understand the situation from another person's perspective rather than say, I'm above, I can never do this. Not to say that, sin is sin. Bad is bad. Evil is evil.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. How do people get on Tasck though?
So that's a great question. So very soon we're going to release a platform that everybody can use, every creative can use. But it's taking me longer than I thought it would to be able to get to that point. And I think we're going to get to that point before the end of the year. Right now we're testing out. So we want to start working for the biggest artists and the biggest celebrities first. But there's a reason why. Because those guys are employers of large groups of creatives. So we believe like if we get to work for Davido, we can use Davido's projects to employ 1,000 people.
Yeah.
So that's why we're starting there, in that way. But between now and the end of the year, look, it's a lot of hard work, building tech, getting out, making sure that payments, regulation, making sure I'm learning. And also, we want to build something that's the best in the world. That when Nigerian creatives hold and they use, they're empowered. It's like a sword, So it's just, it's humbling me. The process is humbling me because I want to do it right. I want to build a company that has the right culture, that has the right vision statement, that has the right staff, that has the right way of thinking, so that we can be the Apple of the creative industry for Africa. Why not? Why can't we do it? With consistency, we can.
Yeah.
What I think about it now, even from your first answer, I think earlier in the episode when you spoke about how you look at young artists and like if a young artist come and meet you and say, M.I, please sign me, Baba help me, Baba I can rap, Baba help me. And first of all, you look at their discography, how many songs have they made? Like how many songs have you put out there that you'd rather have an artist, that has 200 songs. And it seems like, everything just aligns in the aspect of, you preferring or actually understanding the magnitude of consistency in any creative industry, as an artist. So you even thinking that you guys 200 songs. I think you spoke about one of the reasons why Black Boys attracted you. Black Boys you always kept on dropping at that time.
He was pushing his stuff.
Always pushing everything.
If you don't have 200 songs, you don't need my help. It's like you need help, but I'm the wrong fit.
Yeah.
You and I, we're not gonna achieve much together because what you need is more development. So you need like a younger A&R, somebody that's gonna have time to take you to shows and stuff like that. I'm not gonna be able to help you there. You know what I'm saying? You need my help when I now want to sign a record deal. I'm looking for the right person. And I actually have the audience and we're gonna do a great business deal. Or I'm, that level, that's where I can be very helpful. Sometimes people just take an artist's rights just to hold, this artist blows. I don't do that. I want to know okay, am I going to help you? And if I can't help you, sometimes the best thing to tell you is to keep working, keep growing. Everybody has a different time in life,
If you started in 2025, what would you do differently, as a rapper?
That's a good question.
Have you ever thought about that? Just,
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now. I'm starting from scratch. I used to be on Chocolate City. I think I rose to the top of the record label, but now I'm an independent artist.
Do you know, I thought you owned Chocolate City?
In a way, I do, but I don't.
Like, I thought you started it, like you founded it.
I'm not the majority shareholder. I'm one of, but the majority shareholder.
I thought you founded it too. Like, I knew Chocolate City through you.
Yeah, well, the owner of Chocolate City, listen be angry at me. My list of who angry at me are from this podcast. It's great. But no, Audu Mekori and Paulo Kugo, and there's a list of other owners. But I'm proudly one of the owners of Chocolate City. I'm just not in management there anymore.
Yeah.
And the CEO there, by the way, Abuchi Ugupita, is amazing. Have you guys interviewed Abuchi?
No, we haven't.
What? You guys should interview Abuchi. He's one of the brightest thinkers in the music space. He's brilliant. And he also has a true survivor story. He's a great guy. Very wise guy. But if I were to start again, which I'm doing right now, so let me say 5 things. First of all, I would live in the studio. So when I start recording, I record like 100 songs. And I've recorded like 3,000 in my life. So if you're a young artist out there, you're competing with somebody that's, you know what I mean? So you need to be in the studio all the time. All the time. You need to be getting better every day.
Yeah.
Every day. First thing. Second thing is I'll be performing all the time. Where can I perform? Every show.
I wasn't expecting that.
Everywhere, because that's 5 fans, 10 fans, 30, 50, 100, 1,000. I keep performing. And that's one thing I did back then. I was everywhere performing. Third thing is streaming apps don't like projects. They want you to be consistent and keep dropping over and over. So I'll drop like a song every 6 weeks. Maybe I'll go one place with my friend, I'll shoot one video and I'll break the video.
Visualizer,
and just keep posting. And then I would then start 4th thing. And then I would then host a lot of like social events for my fans. So lives, I would go to people's houses, so that's every week I'll be performing and I'll be going. So basically what I'm trying to do is to get like maybe like 300 fans or to 1,000 fans that we really, really believe in me and we celebrate each other, you know. And then the last thing I'll do, I'll find a way to monetize from those fans because I'm sure most of those people can give me 1,000 naira every 3 months.
Yeah.
But if I have 300 fans and each of them give me 1,000, that's 300,000 naira.
Yeah.
So if I can find a way to do something where I can end up with 1K, but they're very happy. So maybe if you buy my single for 1K, I call you, I will send you a message. And not everybody will. Some people will be like, why would I care about that?
Yeah.
But every artist, they'll be like, his guys that will be like, or her guys that will be like, listen, I believe in you. Some will send 3K, some will send 2.5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the artist keeps moving, you keep improving, you keep growing, you keep making money, you keep improving, you keep growing. And if you just do so over even over 5 years, you look up one day and you see 10 million people in your community. You'll be shocked.
You guys, my rap career is starting. I'm all the info that I need.
It's just like you guys now say you are 1.8. So, what took you to 1.8 is not, like, if you go 5 more years, you're not, even at your worst, you're not going to add 1.8 more. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
That's not how law of growth works. You curve like this.
Yeah.
So between 1.8 and 2 will probably be quicker.
Yeah.
Between 2 and 3 will be quicker.
Yeah.
Between 3 and 5 will be quicker.
Yeah.
Our first year, if we get 100 downloads, it was mind-blowing. Like, it was crazy. Now we do whenever we drop an episode, we get over 2,000 that day, over 2,000 downloads that day for a podcast. And that time, our first year, like the number of 2,000, and I just want to link this up to...
let's celebrate. First of all, do you have that in your mind? we should celebrate those 2,000 people now. Let's talk about them. Let's all say something nice about them, so they will be very happy.
Yes, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. You know, you guys have been supporting us and you've been with us all through, you know, that time. 2020, you know, to get podcast listeners, that Nigerians that are our age don't even know what a podcast is. You know, like, so even proper sensitization is even there. But, you know, still...
No, we have to celebrate these guys very well. This is what I want to do. What about you? Do you have something to say to these guys?
Thank you guys for listening. Like, it's really crazy. Just two guys just yapping every week, and you guys are always there with us every day. There are people that are always, like, when we don't drop, like, they're always going crazy.
Yeah, you guys should even come. The people that are shooting, let them see your faces. This episode is going to be one. Come out. What we're trying to do, we're trying to let our fans, you know, this is how you grow fans. You overly thrill them. Do you know what I'm saying? Treat them better than other people that are watching other podcasts are treating them.
This Khalid, are you jotting things?
This is masterclass.
So let me add my own. Guys, I listened to these two young men talk about doing this for 5 years. And for each of those 5 years, you guys have been part of that journey. Me, M.I Abaga, I am so grateful to you guys. Wow. So grateful to you guys. Thank you, because you keep these guys going. It's not easy to be a Nigerian with a dream. You keep them going. Not just them here. There are 3 people behind, 2 gentlemen and a young lady that are sitting here. They are part of the same creative economy we're talking about. Thank you very much. One last thing I want to say is, please, let's do something together. Let's all try and invite 2 other people, podcast friends, just for this episode to the podcast. Let's just be like, this is a really cool podcast. I listen to them. You should check them out, just so that we can keep growing, because that growth means a lot.
Funnily enough, in terms of how we promote, and before I even say that, you know, this speech was amazing, man. I can't even, I was felt crying.
Low-key, I was touched.
And the funny thing is we've had plus many guests, and nobody has actually thought to actually appreciate our listeners. They actually do best, and they actually do the most for us. You know, they go all out for us. You know, and we usually have a call to action song that we do at the beginning. Yeah,
really?
Isaac's really shy.
I'm shy.
Listening to our podcast, please. So
that's even better than the one we see.
Can we Grammy one day? So don't sleep on it. But it usually goes, Isaac, are you ready? Clear your throat.
I'll try.
If it's simple,
it's very simple.
All you just have to do is respond gay.
Okay.
So it's very easy. Have you subscribed?
Gay.
Have you liked?
Gay.
Have you subscribed?
Gay.
Have you followed?
Gay.
Have you shared?
Gay.
Have you commented?
Gay.
That's literally it.
Thank you guys so much, honestly.
Yeah. And, you know, funny enough, you even appreciate people behind. Nifemi's birthday is coming very soon. My birthday was on Monday, actually, as well.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, thank you.
30, that was a big trio.
No, not yet. We're not rushing. Okay. I'm 26, so... Yeah.
What were we talking about 30 then? I was going to ask you about marriage. I guess I know you're getting there. So.
My goal is to marry at 28, and that's next year. So,
wow.
Yeah, hopefully I find someone.
How old are you going to be? 31. Okay. You look young, man. How old are you? 30. How old are you? 25. Wow, man.
Yes.
May you know, I recently, I love it when let me just say I've been enjoying prayer a lot. So I want to say just a prayer line that may God give all of you long life to enjoy the work that you're doing really well.
Amen.
Well done. And don't give up, keep going. Even if the time comes when your journey in the podcast ends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not wasted time. What you guys have done is historic.
Yeah.
You've built something for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, over time. That's so powerful.
And I just want to even say this, you know, and I talk about when I even met you, I spoke about study of self-worth, and I was in uni then, that woman, when I tell you, I actually saved my life, man.
Wow.
Actually, when you spoke a lot about comparison, and it's how it's some of how I structured this podcast and my life, you know. At that time, uni, I'm just so many things was going on social media as well, was just also popping and coming up. And there was this part of I don't know if you still do you know who I am or last, the beginning part, and you spoke about, I think there was kind of like a monologue, somebody speaking about comparison, and especially with the age of the internet, we're constantly comparing ourselves, to people that may be better than us at whatever we do and all that stuff. And it's how I even look at the podcast. Like, I don't listen to other podcasts as much as Isaac does, and it's because sometimes one of my favorite books is Still Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. So it's more about like idea generation, Ideas are literally undetected plagiarism, It kind of like encapsulates into that. Well, let me land before we end and everything.
Easy philosopher.
So in terms of like the comparison, like our podcast, we don't even compare it to other podcasts because there's something that makes us so Nigerian. We have a vision, we have a mission that we're attaining. And, it takes me to, why just compare is where were we last year and where are we going to? Where do we want to be next year? Or this year and last year, what's the comparison? And I feel like that's something that you emphasize. You emphasize so much, unknowingly, you don't even know that you talked about it, but comparing, consistency. And those are things and that I've also kind of like added into like building, my life and also So Nigerian podcast as a whole. So like that, that song and that monologue, and there was even a monologue about, men.
I can tell you're a very deep guy because he's really recounting the soul of what was said. You really got the heart. It's so
I was in uni then, so like every time I listen to that album and like I listen, like it's my favorite project of yours, and it was even in the song, the one that talked about men. And one thing I go into mental health was like 2-3 years ago, and there was a song there I understood better. Especially it's not 2-3 years ago. But I think when you were speaking about world's concept about like men being stoic, like, so what happens in normal aspects of being a human, normal human vulnerabilities or showing emotions. Like, not all men can be strong, not all men can be weak. Some men cry, some men don't cry. Exactly. So, that song just kind of like the conversation you had with therapists there. And it's just like so many things that I learned on that body of work. That's why I'm saying this thing to people that are listening, because that album I don't think there's any Nigerian artist that actually sat down or will sit down to actually have, I've said about this album before, and people actually, that's why other people also listen as well. People listen to me like the way I listen to that album. I just want to give you your flowers. I'm telling you all these things because that song shaped how my life came from 2019 downwards. And it's because of like so many things like comparison, showing emotions. I started becoming big on emotional intelligence, harnessing other people's emotions, harnessing my own emotion as a man, as a young man. And I grew up as the only male child. So like it was more so of, I grew up learning how to, don't do like a woman now. Yeah. But like, I'm just a child, know? So just understanding those things and angles and aspects, and it helped me just like learn so much. And I feel like I would never get that body of work from a Nigerian artist like this. That was creativity as it speak. And it was something that just spoke.
Man, my head. Can you still feel?
I've never thought about having the conversation with you about that album. Like, I've just always listened to my deep, even down to You Rapper Should Fix Up Your Life on that album. Like, every single, even your like melody, every song, like everything was just like extra. And even each song title was a phrase, like it was like a sentence. And it was just like, bro, like, did I ever get this from a Nigerian artist? And even like, I don't even want to, don't let me waste our time for that. But I just, even the one about eating our Africanity, like just so many nuggets of wisdom in that album that like, it was just more so of me, understanding that like, there are people. And one thing about So Nigerian is, nobody will tell you more about yourself than somebody that has lived a similar life like you do. So everything I couldn't relate to your struggles, but I could understand, and I felt like I would meet your struggles anyway, So it was more so of, I can't tell what you're going through, but I could relate to it. And that's what So Nigerian is. So Nigerian listeners in the diaspora, they would want to understand what you felt like growing up in Nigeria. And they feel like if I wasn't given the opportunity to grow up in the US, in the UK, I would have lived like these guys. I would have gone through what these guys went through. So many listeners that are in Lagos, they'll be like, So I'm not the only one that goes through this thing.
Yeah.
You know, so like that relatability and everything. And it's just nice when somebody speaks or says what you can't really say or what you can't understand, but you go through it or you have gone through it. So I just really appreciate that.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the kind words. Nothing to add, no notes.
I think we might just even go into another segment because like I also thought about asking you about the live report.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's this is just another conversation. Like Jesus said, "Use your head." I think that's my favorite song on the project, because you know it's a Nigerian thing where like we just listen to what our pastors say and then we don't want to think for ourselves and all that. And he knows religion is one of my like it's something I'm really all about, because I'm a Christian and I love God, but like I don't like when religion defines your actions and who you are and all that. You get, so like that, maybe that's why that was my favorite song on the album, because you know, you said a lot of like, you listen to your pastor, but you can also just go read your Bible and then get an understanding. So I think that's...
And to be honest with you, Jesus is still saying, use your head. Let me tell you one of the first things Jesus said in the Bible. He said, by their fruits,
you shall know them.
So powerful. So by their fruits, the things people say about them, the things that come out from them, the stories you hear about them, you know. It was so clear. You know what I mean? So that's what that song means. Use your head. You know what I mean? Use your head. And then the second part, which he says is really powerful. I really find like the Bible is like, you know, when I was a young child, we used to read like, I loved fantasy stories. And it always used to be about like there's a treasure somewhere and you need to find the treasure map. And I look at the Bible today like that treasure map. Do you know what I mean? If you are a human being today and you grew up Christian, of course, there are many faiths and I've only been in my own faith.
Yeah.
But I really believe that the God in the Bible is the real living God, the real one. So if you read that book, because it's actually somehow it's become very difficult for people to actually pick up the book and read on a daily basis. It's a struggle. And I believe that's the major reason why we go into Kasala and different things. Because if you read it every day, you're going to be like, like this thing about use your head. We're talking a lot about like tithing and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah.
If you just read, you see the instruction there very clearly and you know what to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel that for that song, use your head. You know, you're right. Like religion has been a weapon against us in Nigeria. You know, it's been used against the people. So we need to use our heads.
And before we round up, though, what's your favorite MI project? You look like a put on this
because my favorite is the new one, the wolf that's coming. But
we're even about to just ask, you know, like next year is going to be 20 years in the game for you. You know,
man, crazy, bro, crazy, man.
Congratulations, man. It's not easy, man.
I mean, if you look at it from the perspective of rap, then it's a great accolade. But if you look at it from the perspective of podcasting, I'm a massive failure. Do you know what I mean? 20 years, 3,000 cumulative views.
I mean, but how
depends on how you look at it.
This 20 years is a long time. Like, you know, how do you stay inspired? Like, how do you stay inspired?
Consistency, man. It's the question. Like, you see this man? He brings us back to. He will just ask a question, but now it's just like I've decided that I want to be a great wood carver, a stone carver. I may break through, fantastic. I will then make the hole as beautiful as possible, and I'll move on. I'll start another hole. If I break through, make it beautiful, let people come and admire it, and I move on. My job is not to be a beautiful hole. My job is to be a skilled stone carver, you know, and I'm okay with that. You know, I'm okay with that. That's what I want to focus on. And so I'm going to keep making music and let me say it like that. I'm going to keep making art and contributing to art, because sometimes it may not be through music. It may be working on somebody's project or helping a podcast. You know, it's still part of the work.
Yeah.
It's still the same heart that gave me my songs, that gave me the vision for Tasck.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I want to continue to give. You know, that's
definitely. How are you feeling about your new album?
Your new project coming out.
So let me tell you guys about The Wolf. Yeah, finally for real.
Yeah.
So, first of all, The Wolf is very important because it's for creatives. Mainly, that's the major audience first. So, for instance, I'll give you guys a small opportunity if you want. I love the way I like to play the album, to perform the album is to invite a group of people, and I'll tell them the story of the wolf. It's a story that has been missing from human history for centuries. And now I received the story and I want to share with you guys the story of what happened to the wolf. That the wolf, you know, something about the wolf. The wolf is the bad guy in every story he's in.
Yeah.
And there's no stories in African literature about the wolf. So his memory was erased and he's turned to the bad guy. What happened? There's a really powerful story. And that story is the story of every creative. You know, so I want to share it. Then I play
What's the actual story of the wolf?
That you have to hear. I have to tell you. I have to tell you.
I never actually thought about that angle.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the first chapter because my first song is about Mr. Fantastic. And Mr. Fantastic is the beginning of the story. So let me tell the story. Story. Once upon it. No. Story. Once upon a time.
Time.
Fantastic. So, first of all, this story begins when the father had given the man an instruction: don't eat of the fruits. If you eat of the fruits, that day, what do you say? You shall surely. Do you remember?
Pastor's son.
You know the story of the creation. What happened? He said, if you eat of the fruit to the man, that day you shall surely die.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, this is how the story starts. The wolf was there that day, and the wolf looks at the man and said, hey, are you sure you want to eat these fruits? This might not be a good idea. Father has given us everything we need. We don't need to even do any of this. Now, we all know what happened. The man ate the fruits. And that night, cold of nights, the wolf felt cold wind on his back. It was like, got up. He came out, he saw the angel of death approaching with his sword. So he said, what doest thou here, angel? So ridiculous. I'm laughing at myself and I'm thinking, what doest thou here, angel? And the angel was like, out of my way, canine. Now, Mr. Fantastic is the soundtrack to the fights that they had. You understand? It was a very, very brutal fight. Of course, an angel can easily kill a wolf.
Yeah.
But there's something contentious about spiritual and physical wrestling, you know? And that day they had one of those wrestles. And all of a sudden the angel stopped. And he said to the wolf, there are two things. Number one, you can never tell anyone what happened here today. And never tell anybody that this is part of the reason why the story is known. You've never heard the story.
You've never heard the story.
But what happened to you're asking the right question. Never tell anybody what happened here. Then the second thing, he's turned and they looked up to the sky. The wolf was panting, blood all over his thing. The angel of the sign came. He said, it's a full moon tonight. And every full moon from now, you shall be invincible. Which is why now, every full moon, you don't want to see a wolf. You know, so this is where the story starts, you know, and that's Mr. Fantastic. There are 14 chapters.
Yeah.
The album is like, if you know my album, The Chairman is, I use the very two sides.
Yeah.
There are two sides, and then there's 3 songs that are triplets: the beginning, the middle, the end. Now, the difference between the wolf and this one is that The Chairman starts with the triplet, middle triplet, third triplet, and then everyone else is a twin. This one has twins, and then the triplets are in the middle. So that's the only difference in the storytelling side. And it also tells the story. It's a part of a trilogy. Starts with the wolf. The next one is a study on love. And then the last one is a study on society. And they tell 3 different stories, which are like satire of African history and African culture and African people. And the wolf is an acronym for us. That's why the story is for us.
Yeah.
for creatives, but we creatives were like the modern day prophets. I don't use the prophet lightly, but we're like the modern day prophets. We speak for people. So in a way, this title speaks for people too. And the title is To Humans Everywhere. That's THE. Whatever occurs, look forward.
Wow.
So that's what the story of the wolf is about.
Yeah.
You know, and we begin from there. So please stay tuned. Gang. Stay tuned as we go to the story of the wolf.
Can't tell the intentionality. You know, you can just tell.
But when is it out though?
It's begun. So we're trying to get the story. You know, that's why I said, if you guys want to organize an event in the name of your podcast, where you can invite some friends, I'll come, I'll show up, we'll listen to the album that day, I'll tell the story, you listen to the album. When will people be able to get it at once? That might take a while still, while we're still rolling it out.
So Nigerian listeners, if you're ready, just we'll plan the event next week.
It doesn't even have to be stressful. Just somewhere fun,
something intimate,
hang out. Thank you to some of your best. This thing, we just sit down. We won't let people record, but we'll listen. And I tell the story, I play the music, and then I ask people, what does it mean? And it's always
you guys, we are picking 10 listeners.
Let's do it. Let's
do it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Man, thank you guys so much as well.
And really enjoyed.
I'm standing on 5 years of consistency.
This is our longest episode ever, by the way.
I'm best. Because if you blow up, let's see. Amen.
So do you have any final words for like young artists or young people that are just, trying to get into startup and everything, just final words or something to, help them. So many nuggets of wisdom from you today, by the way. Like, it's such even from your songs, everything, like even the way you do your albums. I mean,
I'm the field podcaster. You are the successful podcaster.
Please.
So you give me, from the perspective of podcasting.
Yeah.
I would love to hear some nuggets from both of you. Because you're asking me from the perspective of music. But people have heard me talk about music. So from the perspective of podcasting, can you both give me some nuggets to take with me as I go forward?
Well, to you, I wouldn't say to you.
I'm a failed podcaster, bro.
Okay, so let me say, just start and don't overthink it. Don't compare yourself with other podcasts that might be doing well. And just put in your 10,000 hours and just be consistent with it. So pretty much that.
I mean, people also ask me the same question. Like I said, mentioned earlier, is, great content, man. Like you have to actually like perfect your craft. We've recently had somebody say, I've been listening to the podcast for 2020 and, with the way we have improved our opinions, everything has matured, we've grown on this podcast, we have had so many conversations and like you can smell the growth because we're constantly improving. I think our most listened to episode is an episode Drug Experience. And a listener that was very, very, very addicted to meth, went to rehab a couple of times. So he shared an email that he wanted to speak on the podcast because the podcast helped him in rehab.
Wow.
So he came. And then that was our first guest that we're having, So like, I wasn't, obviously like, I've never been to a journalist school. I've never, interviewed, just do the podcast. So we're like, this is an interesting story. Like, you want to tell your story? We had a conversation. We asked him really nice questions. And I feel like I didn't even do well in that episode. Well, this was like 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago. And it just blew up. But like, now with the level of what I've learned and obviously like people's feedback on that episode, I feel like, I had to like perfect, having guests like you enjoy. I'm very sure you enjoyed the session and that's what perfecting your craft is because we're constantly recording, constantly having guests, you sent a pitch deck and you're like, you're surprised that we sent a pitch deck. That's what we do for all of our guests. And those are things that we invest in, like good quality, I learned audio editing as well because at that time when I started with my Samsung phone. And
did we not say it earlier that if you start checking, they say, I also know audio editing. I also know.
But like
field producer. Field producer.
But I had to learn it because I had to edit the audio.
Yeah.
If you listen to our first episodes, sometimes like you can hear things in the background. Like it was really bad. We didn't know anything about noise reduction, all those things like matching loudness and all those things. I paid for a course at that time, and those are the things that I put into effort to improve, to have great content, and as well consistency. You know, like we had to like one of the things we tackled this year was we used to drop episodes bi-weekly and haphazardly. You know, like just when we had time, because we have economical needs. We go to work and we actually, you know, all that kind of thing. But like we had to like say every Mondays we drop an episode. You know, we had to make sure that like we tackle consistency well. 2 weeks is not enough. You know, we had to just make sure that every week, and since the 3rd week of January, we've dropped an episode almost every week this year, you know, and it's what will make you greater or reach a level, you know. And last but not the least is just, you know, quality, man. Like anything you're doing, man, you just have to make sure it's of the topmost quality, man. And the sound, nobody wants to sure they're listening to a podcast, you know. Nobody wants to see 2K quality video. Everybody's 4K now, like, do you understand? So like quality just makes everything better. And I feel like that's all those things can also be applied to like young creative and everything. Like even your production of your song loss, like, you know, we made some money, like took money from our pockets, we did the stuff, and we're just like, like we've spent like 4 years in podcasting. We can do a live show, and people bought tickets. We gave them food, drinks, and it wasn't even something that you go to a show and you give you free food. And it was just like, like we need to invest in our crafts. You know, this will experience. And Isaac and I, we were watching videos on you know, stage, because obviously like it's different over recording it than
of course
having a live audience.
Different dynamic completely.
So we had to make sure
How did it go?
that one. It went
Yeah,
well.
it was really good.
People loved it, you know, it was really good. And we did this in December, and even costing of venue, all those, and we didn't have a sponsor. Literally don't have a sponsor. You know, we pitched to so many people. They're like, you just, you know, it's different companies, just different one. I just, you know what, like I can't even continue. I had a proposal, I can't even continue these conversations. Like I have savings, you know, can do this, you know, and people bought tickets as well, you know, they showed up, bought tickets. But we didn't even sell the ticket like as, you know, we took a loss, but, you know, it was everything you're investing in your craft, you know, and it's kind of like the work that we put in. So anything, man, is just consistency, good quality, and just always work hard to improve your content and whatever you're doing. That's the advice. So your own turn. Before you
guys, they said it all now. What can I don't think I can. You guys said it all. You shared the story. I mean, what he said at the beginning, you know, just start, you know, don't compare. And then I think you took it and like do your 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
And you now made it deep. You said, no be just mouth to. You talked about like doing special things, improving your craft, and trying and sowing. Sowing into your rebound at a time. So well done to you guys, man. Very honored to be here.
Thank you so
Stand
much.
on 5 years of consistency. Know what I mean?
It's the way you made this about us when it's about
20 years in the game.
You gave me my accolades earlier.
20 years in the game is really not easy.
Thank you so much, guys.
So thank you so much for coming. And you guys make sure you subscribe.
Yes,
make sure you like, you comment, you share.
Anticipate the wolf.
Anticipate the wolf. And you guys be interested in exclusive. You heard it from his mouth.
So we're doing it.
So thank you guys.
I'll buy the food.
You guys are best. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
I really had a great